on this podcast, we're going to talk about our news channels, and we're going to ask the question, what does it mean when our news is no longer objective when they're reporting on issues in our communities? Could we call them fake news? Absolutely. When our news channels are taking things out of context, when they're editing videos and releasing them on the news, they're no longer objective. As a matter of fact, they're flat out lying to our communities. Now, on this podcast, what we're going to do, we're going to jump into the January 6th speech for President Trump and how ABC completely edited the January 6th speech for President Trump. Now, that's on the national level. That's what ABC is doing to our president. They flat out edited the January 6th speech. Now, on a local level, would you be surprised to find out that our local news is doing the same thing in the Mustafa Aljazairi case? Julie Carey in the Mustafa Aljazairi case took Mustafa's dash camera. Mustafa Aljazairi has a dash camera inside his vehicle. When you find out that Julie Carey with NBC4 cut and edited Mustafa's dash camera, and she left out on this dash camera the fact that Mustafa and Dorothy were sharing a cigarette. She completely cut that out of the dash camera. She released 4 seconds on NBC4, and she cut the portion where Mustafa and Dorothy are sharing a cigarette. Now, the police department, the prosecutor office told this community that there's a heated argument inside the vehicle. Mustafa Aljazairi gets in a vehicle accident on April 5th. Mustafa Aljazairi lost his girlfriend, her 5-year-old baby, in that vehicle accident. Mustafa was helicoptered to the hospital. Mustafa Aljazairi was in a coma. There's a dash camera inside the vehicle. The police department, specifically Investigator Robert Drumm, told the news that Mustafa told him that he was arguing inside the vehicle. Well, when you find out there's a recording of the conversation between Mustafa and the investigator, you find out that Mustafa never said that. This investigator flat out falsified Mustafa's statement. He put that in the police report. Now, since the Commonwealth attorney sealed off the whole case, so when you put in a FOIA, your FOIA will be denied. You can't get the dash camera. You can't get any document. You can't get any police body cams. This dash camera is sealed. And you can only go off by what the county is telling you. Now, a year into the case, Julie Carey released just about 4 seconds from Mustafa's dash camera. What she released and what she edited out of the dash camera is that Mustafa and Dorothy were sharing a cigarette. And the way Dorothy, Mustafa's girlfriend, takes the cigarette, while Mustafa passes the cigarette to his girlfriend, Dorothy feels Mustafa's fingers when she takes the cigarette. And you clearly see there is no argument inside the vehicle. Julie Carey cut that portion out of the dash camera. On this podcast, we're going to go into the January 6th and what they're doing to President Trump and how ABC edited his speech, the January 6th speech. And then we're going to go into the local level and how NBC4 did the same exact thing in the Mustafa Aljazairi case. We're going to take the dash camera that Julie Carey aired that on NBC4, and we're going to play the actual dash camera that we have today. We're going to put them one side by side, and we're going to show this community how Julie Carey edited the dash camera and took out the portion where Mustafa and Dorothy are sharing a cigarette. What the police department did in the Mustafa Aljazairi case, for 2.5 years, they tell you that this dash camera is cut before impact. That this dash camera in Mustafa's vehicle has no audio. Julie Carey reported on the Mustafa Aljazairi case and said the Commonwealth attorney says there is no audio. Now, when you find out that digital forensic with Prince William County Police Department actually says that this dash camera does have audio, where is Julie Carey from updating the story? Julie Carey leaves this community in the dark. One, she leaves out, she cuts the portion where Mustafa and Dorothy are sharing a cigarette. She never updates the community that there is audio to this dash camera. And when you find out that investigator Chad Mason testifies to the presiding judge, Judge Carol Weimer, that when he got on scene, he took the dash camera from Mustafa's windshield, took it back to his vehicle, took the SD card that's in this dash camera, plugged it into his laptop, downloaded the files, then took the SD card, put it back into the dash camera, went back to Mustafa's vehicle, and put it back onto the windshield. Investigator Chad Mason testifies to Judge Carol Weimer, the presiding judge, that he sat on those files for 2 days. 2 days later is when he got a warrant for this dash camera. Now, what he said is that he violated the chain of custody. What he was supposed to do is take the dash camera to digital forensic with the Prince William County Police Department, Cassie Zymuth, and what she was supposed to do is copy and mirror the files in this dash camera to protect the integrity of this dash camera. And she was supposed to, and then upload it to the police department server. That's what was supposed to happen, but that didn't happen. Instead, you have Chad Mason testifies to violating the chain of custody, that he took the dash camera, downloaded it, sat on those files for 2 days. And 2 days later is when he got a warrant. And he's the one that uploaded the files to the server. Well, the problem here is today we're looking at a dash camera that has no audio and it's cut before impact. And it has 17 frames missing from the camera facing inside the vehicle. And you can only reach the conclusion that this officer cut and muted this dash camera because digital forensic, when she finally got this dash camera, says this dash camera does have audio. So why is it for 2.5 years, our Commonwealth attorney, Amy Ashworth, says this dash camera doesn't have audio and completely avoided what her digital forensic is telling us? Now, is our Commonwealth attorney comfortable lying about this case because she sealed off the whole entire case? Absolutely. You can't verify that officer, Cassie Zymuth, is saying that this dash camera does have audio. It took that I stole the file from the county. I managed to access the police department server, evidence.com, and steal the Mustafa Aljazairi file and leak this file. And in this file, you find out that there's a document that shows that this, by digital forensic, Officer Cassie Zymuth admit that this dash camera does have audio. And that's exculpatory evidence. The county want to tell you that Mustafa was in a heated argument inside the vehicle with his girlfriend. But when you find out that the dash camera actually show, and we're going to play the dash camera. We have the dash camera today. We're going to play the dash camera, and it shows that Mustafa and Dorothy are sharing a cigarette. And the way Dorothy feels Mustafa's fingers when she takes a cigarette, it shows there is no argument inside the vehicle. What they've done is they falsified Mustafa's statement, cut and muted this dash camera. And NBC4, Julie Carey, edits the dash camera, edits specifically the portion where Mustafa and Dorothy are sharing a cigarette. We're going to take what Julie Carey aired that on NBC4, and we're going to put that side by side with the actual dash camera and show the portion of the cigarette that's being shared by Mustafa and his girlfriend. And I'm going to show this community how Julie Carey flat out lied in the Mustafa Aljazairi case by editing the dash camera. Now, what we're also going to go into is Investigator Robert Drumm, the main investigator. And we're going to ask, this is the same investigator that falsified Mustafa's statement. This is the same investigator that said, Mustafa, you told me you were arguing inside the vehicle. When there's a recording, when you listen to it, Mustafa never said that. This investigator flat out falsified Mustafa's statement. We're going to find out. We have a body cam. We're going to watch that body cam on April 19. And we're going to find out what was keeping Investigator Robert Drumm up late at night. He couldn't sleep. That on April 19, he had to check out Mustafa's dash camera from evidence without a warrant. He went into evidence, took Mustafa's dash camera, and called the company that manufactures Mustafa's dash camera. And you would assume that he's going to ask for the audio. Now, the Commonwealth attorney says there is no audio. Digital forensic tells you there is audio. Now, when the Commonwealth attorney is telling you there is no audio and the county is running with that narrative, you would only assume that if the investigator checks out this dash camera and he calls Rexon, he's going to ask about the audio. But instead, he doesn't ask about the audio, and he's only concerned, can this dash camera be accessible through the clouds? You find out that Mustafa's dash camera has an app that automatically uploads the dash camera into his cell phone. That when the police department did a cell phone dump, they have the full dash camera. So even though Officer Chad Mason cut and muted this dash camera, the cell phone is still in the clouds. The dash camera is still in the cloud on Mustafa's cell phone. And the police department, when they did an extraction on Mustafa's cell phone, they put it on a separate hard drive. And the only thing that kept Robert Drumm up at night, is it possible that the family may be able to access this dash camera through the clouds the same way the family accessed the Google Nest inside the apartment. So, we're going to find out what kept Robert Drumm up late at night on April 19. We're going to watch that body cam. And the only question he asked, he never asked about the audio because they already had the audio. And his only concern is whether this dash camera is in the cloud. Let's go into our beautiful intro.
If any of that is posted anywhere on the internet, we're going to have problems. Whatever copies have been made of that, those need to be destroyed.
Okay.
Okay? If they get disclosed, that is going to put me in a situation where I will have to withdraw from the case.
Okay.
If you disclose that information in any way, all of it needs to be destroyed now. But if you disclose it in any way, it's going to put me in a position where I will have to withdraw from the case. If you all choose to go on the internet and try to publicize this stuff, that's going to create real problems.
Okay.
You can't do it, is what I'm telling you. You cannot do it. I will have to move to withdraw from the case.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
All right.
So make sure everybody's aware of that. Okay? If any of that is posted anywhere on the internet, we're going to have problems. Whatever copies have been made of that, those need to be destroyed.
Okay.
Okay? If they get disclosed, that is going to put me in a situation where I will have to withdraw from the case.
Okay.
If you
This is not another boring podcast. Mustafa through the police body cam. And for the past multiple podcasts, and instead of Judge Weimer under the microscope, Brad Haywood, Mustafa's defense attorney, you are under the microscope. Now, Brad Haywood, Mustafa's defense attorney, in a phone call conversation, tells me that Julie Carey with NBC4 is a good friend of his, and he knows her for a long time. Now, my question for Brad Haywood, since Julie Carey is your best friend and you know her for a long time, and you're Mustafa's defense attorney, why have you not reached out to Julie Carey and demanded that she updates and fix what she reported on? Originally, she reported on the police department lying in the Mustafa Aljazairi case, went on and edited Mustafa's dash camera, released an edited version to this dash camera. Why have you not reached out to Julie Carey? Now, Brad Haywood, you are under the microscope. Before we dive into what we're doing here, I want to thank Mohammed for being here. Mohammed, thank you for being here.
Thank you.
I think we should really quick go over the intro that we have. I think it's a beautiful intro, and Brad Haywood made it into a slide under my microscope. I have a microscope on this podcast, and usually I put Judge Weimer, I put the Commonwealth Attorney, I put Prosecutor Sarah Sammy under this microscope, and usually you would assume that Mustafa's first defense attorney, Casey Stevens, is under this microscope. Now, Casey Stevens didn't make it into a slide. Brad Haywood is on that slide, and he's grouped up with the corrupt judge that's allowing this to go on as long as it went on, Judge Weimer. He's grouped up with the Commonwealth, Amy Ashworth, who falsified a whole entire case using officer that falsified the whole entire case, is with a prosecutor that flat out lied about Mustafa. Why is Brad Haywood grouped up with all those individuals? Now, he's grouped up because he's allowing and avoiding
Questionable conduct.
We have his transcript inside the court, and I'm not going to sit here and tell you that this lawyer is protecting a county that falsified the case. You know, I have a video that actually just it's a really funny video. I'm not going to tell you he's corrupt, but I'm going to tell you he's corrupt. Now, Brad Haywood, you don't have to worry about my opinion. The community is the deciding factor. Now, quickly, I want to go over this video and explain to everybody. Do me a favor, go over to exhibits. This is Brad Haywood. There we go. There we go. That's Brad Haywood. That's the defense attorney. Mustafa's the current defense attorney. This defense attorney was assigned to Mustafa's case in February. The government gave him over $100,000 to hire experts to reconstruct the vehicle, extract the dash camera from the metadata with the SD card that the police department is in possession of. So far, he hasn't done any of it. Trial is just around the corner in March, and this lawyer hasn't done anything. Haven't reconstructed the vehicle accident, hasn't extracted the full dash camera. Now that we know that Officer Zyman says this dash camera does have audio, that's Brad Haywood for you. And that's questionable. Our question is, why have you not done anything in the Mustafa Aljazairi case? Are you protecting the county? So that's Brad Haywood. Let's see if we can go over. That's right there. It's Prosecutor Sarah Sammy, our hairy Persian princess. She's originally Persian. And rumor has it, she does not shave. That's Sarah Sammy, the prosecutor that's been lying. And this is me. Accessing the police department server, evidence.com, and stealing the Mustafa Aljazairi case, stealing other files from the county that show this county falsified cases. This is me. By the way, I bought a hazmat suit. I think it's like $100 off of Amazon. So the next podcast, whenever I get it, you're going to see this intro plays out.
You can be in uniform.
I can be in uniform. You're going to see this intro plays out. And then when the intro comes out, I'm going to be in a full hazmat suit doing a podcast. And then I'm just going to jump out of the hazmat suit, and it's going to be me. So I'm getting creative with, we're definitely having fun here. This is Judge Weimer, the judge that's allowing a prosecutor to lie for 2.5 years. Judge Weimer, just because I don't have you under the microscope right now doesn't mean I'm not going to bring you back in. Okay? We just have to focus on Brad Haywood. And this is common. This is my microscope. I'm actually going to buy a microscope too. I'm going to put it right here. Hazmat suit, microscope. And this is our Commonwealth attorney, Amy Ashworth. There we go. Did you know that Amy Ashworth was on the news?
Was she?
It is crazy that she's on the news. I mean, with all the heat that she's getting from this podcast, she actually popped up. It's like, you know that game, Whack-A-Mole?
Whack-A-Mole.
It's like every time she comes up, I have to talk about her. She sealed off the file for the Mustafa Aljazairi case, using officer that falsified the whole entire case, sealing off a completely separate case, the Tatiana David case, where on body cam, the police say on the news that they found Tatiana David outside the vehicle, but the body cam that I have, shows that officers murdered Tatiana David. And this lady right there, Commonwealth Amy Ashworth, sealed off the case to protect the officer that murdered Tatiana David.
A murder captured on video.
A murder that's captured on video. Now, she's on the news and is talking about a case where the individual was acquitted because the county didn't even have a case.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I remember that one. Didn't have any evidence. There was no evidence of the person that they're alleging is dead. That there's no evidence that he's dead. He allegedly, supposedly is a runaway or whatever, but they're accusing a friend of his for murdering him without having a body, without any forensic evidence to suggest this person is dead. They want to convict Donahue, I think his name was.
We're going to pull up the article.
Something Donahue.
Yeah.
They were accusing him of killing his best friend.
Now, the crazy part is, you know,
It's just crazy.
I mean, just when you think that's crazy, Commonwealth Amy Ashford goes out on the news and she says, I'm so upset that this case did not make it to the jury, and the jury didn't have.
Dismissed.
She's upset that it got dismissed. I mean, you're looking at a case that the police have absolutely no evidence. And she's upset because the case didn't go to the jury. Lady, if you're that kind of Commonwealth attorney where you're gonna bring a case up to the jury based on emotion,
no evidence, no facts, nothing, just pure emotion. Suppose you convict this person based on no evidence, and then the guy shows up like 2 years later. What are you gonna do? I mean, you just put a person in jail that you have no evidence. I mean, if you had evidence, it would be a different story. But if you have no evidence that this person murdered anybody and you held them in jail for that long and you're upset that the judge dismissed it because you have no evidence, I mean, what are you waiting for? For police to falsify evidence, to make up evidence, to bring in, to manufacture probable cause and fake witnesses? I mean, that's what we see in the Mustafa Aljazairi case. You have Robert Drumm on a three-way call with an alleged Amy Hodson and his wife while conducting a
fake witnesses,
while conducting a double homicide investigation interview. And you have your wife on the phone. You have an Amy Hodson. By the way, you know, this is the call that I recorded that they're using in court. The phone call that I recorded. But where is Robert Drumm's body cam when he's talking to Mustafa?
I'm not going to share that with you. It's not even uploaded in the server.
Well, here's the thing. Where is Mustafa's defense attorney on that body cam specifically? Because we know for a fact that Robert Drumm was reprimanded when that phone call came into question. When Internal Affairs pulled that body cam, he was reprimanded for it. What was happening on that phone call? How many people did you have on that phone call? You know, I wonder if he had Evelyn Horton, his wife, Kylie, if he had Tanisha Coleman on it. Maybe he had Glenn Ford on it. Who knows really how many people he had on that call. But the only way to really find out is if you subpoena Robert Drumm's cell phone and you see how many people were on that phone call and who those individuals are. Because now the fact that you had a random person as well as your wife on a phone call interview in a alleged double homicide, it means you're not taking this case seriously. You can't take this case seriously when you have random people on a phone call. And by the way, they sealed the file. So how could you seal the file from the community when you have certain individuals that have no right to be there? They don't work for the police department. They're just random people that you brought in to manufacture a probable cause in order to arrest Mustafa. I would really like to hear that phone call. I think if,
in a bond hearing, prosecutor Sarah Sammy, because this came up in a bond hearing where the Mustafa's defense attorney at the time, before Brad Haywood, it was Blake Weiner. And Blake Weiner told the presiding judge, Judge Carol Weimer, Your Honor, the main investigator falsified my client's statements. So
he had to play that phone call.
And the prosecutor Sarah Sammy said,
we can't find Drumm's body cam.
I would like to play the recording from the family.
By the way, I'm surprised they didn't accuse us of AI or making the phone call or putting it together from different clips. I'm surprised that accusation never came up, because every time you present evidence to this county, they want to say, oh, that's not real. That's not Glenn Ford. That's not Kai. I mean, that's the accusation every time you submit an audio recording. They say, that's not real. That's AI. I'm surprised Sarah Sammy or the other prosecutors didn't say that this is not a real recording.
Well, when I got into the server for the police department, evidence.com, and I accessed Mustafa's file, I took Mustafa's file. That body cam wasn't there. Now, Sean Shelton...
well as Andrew Margiotta's body cam wasn't there.
Andrew Margiotta wasn't there.
Brad Haywood had to really push the prosecutor to release Andrew Margiotta's body cam. Okay? And because there was a lot of public attention on Andrew Margiotta and the fact that he had a statement that specifically said his body cam was uploaded to evidence.com, there was a lot of push from the community to request that body cam, is why the prosecutor released it.
Now, don't you find it interesting and disturbing that Brad Haywood would not sit down with Mustafa and share the body cam with Mustafa?
Or
I'm talking about the phone call.
The phone call with Drumm,
where Drumm falsified Mustafa's statement. He would not. He said, I have the body cam.
Well,
but refused. He said, I have it. That's what he said.
Yeah, but when you pushed him on it, you said you heard the body cam.
Said, I didn't.
He said, I didn't hear it. No, okay. I didn't hear
it. But he tells you I have it. But he said I didn't listen to it, and he wouldn't sit down with Mustafa to go over it.
Why not? Now, it's a 30-minute call.
Now I'll tell you, on other body cams, we're listening to Robert Drumm's wife on three-way. Now,
and his wife is also on TikTok. She's releasing photos from his Nikon camera.
You're talking about Stephanie Claiborne Drumm.
Who
doesn't work for the police department.
Does not work for the police department.
But she's on three-way and online.
She's in the interview phone calls. As Robert Drumm is conducting his interview, she's on the phone calls, okay? Because we hear in another body cam where he mutes Mustafa and he's talking to his wife, or actually he mutes the nurse, Elizabeth Lee. He mutes her as he's talking to her, and then he's explaining to his wife what's going on.
Is it fair to assume that the reason the county is terrified to release that body cam is because Robert Drumm is on a phone call with his wife or other individuals on three-way?
I mean, 100%. He was reprimanded specifically for that body cam. And if you remember correctly, Internal Affairs, Sean Shelton, really wanted our audio. And his reasoning was, I need your audio to compare it to our audio to make sure that what I listen to with you is the same one that we have. What kind of BS is that? I mean, that's a BS request. I want your audio to authenticate it with our audio. Well, you recorded our conversation. You recorded what we played to you. Why do you want the clear version of our audio? And it's to play it in court. It's so that whenever this body cam, this conversation of Drumm and Mustafa comes up, they want a clean audio with no people on three-way. And they can't do that with Drumm's body cam because he has people on three-way. So they want to use our audio that we submitted. They want to use the clean version. I mean, my version has like my wife talking in the background in the beginning and maybe something that I said at the end after the phone call hung up. That's what you're listening to. That's what the judge is hearing in court. He's hearing my audio that I recorded. But Brad Haywood, Mustafa Aljazairi is entitled to that body cam. It's exculpatory evidence.
Now, let me ask you
this. They have to release it.
Is it fair to say that Brad Haywood not going over that body cam with Mustafa? And is it fair to say that he's protecting the county, Mustafa's defense attorney?
I mean, it's definitely questionable actions. These are very questionable actions. Why would the lawyer not share misconduct with Mustafa? Why not? I mean, this is your client. When police commit a crime or they falsify information or they tamper with evidence, you have to share that with your client so that you can properly formulate a defense. You can mount a defense based on the facts. And when you're depriving your client of facts, specifically exculpatory information, you're no longer working for your client. You have a double interest. You're, in a way, trying to avoid putting these officers, the prosecutor, under the spotlight because they did something wrong. And you don't want your client to get that information because your client is sitting in jail, okay? And if he sees misconduct, if he sees a violation of his right, it's going to infuriate him. It's going to upset him. He's going to be very angry. But if you're not that angry the same way your client is, maybe your interests are not where they should be.
Well, the problem here, so Robert Drumm got in trouble. I remember at the time, we took our audio to where Mustafa's investigator falsified his statement to Internal Affairs. And they did an internal investigation. And I remember at the time, on NBC4 aired out that this investigator falsified Mustafa's statement. And the police department says that they reprimanded this investigator, but they wouldn't share anything more with anybody. Now,
not until recently.
Not fast forward till today. Brad Haywood, Mustafa's current defense attorney, files a Brady motion. And in one of the Brady motions, Judge Carol Weimer, the presiding judge, approved that Mustafa's defense attorney has access to the internal files of the main investigators, Robert Drumm, Chad Mason, and any
other misconduct.
Any police officer, he has access into their internal file. And in the internal files, what you're going to see is whether they're certified to handle this investigation, whether
which by the way they're not certified.
Well, Sean Shelton with Internal Affairs specifically tell us that Investigator Robert Drumm is not certified to handle this investigation. So Mustafa's defense attorney has access to find out whether they're certified and what they actually got in trouble for. Now, would it disturb you to find out that Judge Weimer granted Brad Haywood, Mustafa's defense attorney, to have access into the internal file, but Brad Haywood, in an order, agreed with the prosecutor that he doesn't want it? Why not?
I mean, that's really interesting. Why not? Why not? You have an officer that falsified your client's statements. You have an officer who's actively manufacturing probable cause. He's actively tampering with witnesses. He actively abused children in the process. He actively crushed and destroyed evidence. He's actively hiding evidence. Why would you not want to go into the internal files of that officer?
Are you going to find that Robert Drumm got in trouble for having his wife and other individuals on three-way when he was talking to Mustafa? And that's why they buried that body cam?
Interesting. How many times has Robert Drumm lied before and was reprimanded for it? And that's why they don't want this file out.
Are you going to find that investigator Robert Drumm is not certified to handle this investigation?
Well, it's interesting you say he's not certified. I know that Chad Mason took the stand.
That's right.
On October 31st, 2024. And he took the stand as a certified individual who is trained and certified in electronic data recorders, which is the EDR from the vehicle, as well as the dash camera.
That's right. Prosecutor Sarasami.
He testified that he was an expert.
Prosecutor Sarasami brought in investigator Chad Mason on the stand and had him testify as an expert witness. Now,
is he certified? That's the thing. Is he certified to stand there and say, I'm certified in ABC?
Well,
he's not.
Well, let me ask you a question. Didn't he, in a motion to dismiss, took the stand and he said, I am not certified?
He says, I have the general knowledge of a normal person.
So in a bond motion, you're an expert witness.
Yeah,
but in a motion to dismiss,
he's not.
You're
a
layman person.
He's a layman person. But in a bond hearing, he testified that he was an expert witness on digital evidence.
And Brad Haywood, who's given access and granted by Judge Carol Weimer to go into the internal file and find out if this officer is certified, he says, in agreement with the prosecutor, he says, I'm no longer interested
what was he reprimanded
in pursuing.
Well, we know for a fact he was reprimanded for violation of department policy when he took the dash cam and tampered with it without a warrant. And now we know that he testified that he was a certified expert on digital items, only to later say he's not certified.
By the way, I'm getting really good. I'm not even accusing the defense attorney by being in cahoots with the county or protecting the county. I'm asking the question,
why
and the
would you
community,
disregard?
why would you disregard finding out if these officers, are you going to discredit these officers? Once you find out they're not certified, you're going to discredit these officers. And is it not fair to say that when you no longer interested in pursuing and finding out whether these investigators are certified, are you not protecting the county? You know, I have a video. I have a really funny video on how I'm approaching the defense attorney without saying.
Before you get into the video, I just want to say this.
Yeah.
I think the issue that we're seeing with Brad Haywood is, this is what I noticed. Okay. And I think a lot of people have also noticed this. He's making major decisions about Mustafa's case, about Mustafa's rights, without consulting with Mustafa.
Oh, absolutely.
And I'll tell you, the first thing he did was, we find out later, by the way, that he had waived Mustafa's right to a speedy trial. And Mustafa never waived his right to a speedy trial. As a matter of fact, Mustafa put a letter on the record when this happened. He says, I never waived my right to a speedy trial. I don't know why my attorney is doing that. And when Mustafa at the time asked Brad Haywood, hey, why did you just waive my right to a speedy trial? Can I see the document that you just signed off on my behalf? And Brad Haywood says, no, you're not going to see it. You're not entitled to it. You're not entitled to it. Later, we find out that document that he didn't show him was Brad Haywood signing off on waiving Mustafa's speedy trial.
And in that document, he said that he sat down with Mustafa, consulted with Mustafa. Mustafa agrees. Mustafa never sat down with Mustafa. Now, Mustafa, at that point, before Brad Haywood entered to represent Mustafa, Mustafa had already been in solitary confinement without a trial for 2 years. Now, Amy Ashworth is in trouble for having someone sit in a county jail without a trial where
violating this violating his constitutional right.
In Virginia, within 6 months, a Commonwealth attorney is supposed to take you to trial.
But here's the thing that we are seeing that is repetitive. Mustafa says, I want to look at the hard drive that has my dash camera, my Google Nest, my Alexa, which the police already have, by the way. I want to look at it, or I want you to look at it, because there's a lot of information that we can use for my defense. I'm being falsely accused here. And the information on this hard drive can easily disprove the prosecutor's false allegations. And what we're finding out with Brad is that he's making decisions on his own. Decisions that are hurting Mustafa's case. It's hurting Mustafa's defense.
I mean, it's obvious he's protecting the county in those decisions.
And take a look at this. When Judge Weimer grants the reprimand files of these officers to the defense, he's not saying, hey, Brad, come in and look at it and see if you can make a personal deal with the prosecutor, maybe on your next client. I'll give you this if you give me that. That's what he's doing. He's basically saying, I'm going to turn a blind eye to the reprimand files, okay? And maybe he's making a deal for another case. Who knows? But it's not your say to go in, look at it, and say, I'm going to cut you a break, Stephanie Buck. I'm going to cut you a break, prosecutor. I'm going to cut you a break. I'm going to disregard these files. It's not your choice. When the judge granted that order to look at these files, he granted it for the defendant, not for you. You are just a vehicle in the way to help this person because he's being accused. It's his right. And if you don't want to follow the rules, okay, if you don't want to be an effective counsel, you don't want to follow the rules to properly defend your client, I mean, maybe you shouldn't be a court-appointed lawyer. You keep complaining about the pay. Okay? You complain about the pay. We get pennies on the dollar, this and that. The judges are literally granting you hundreds of thousands of dollars for your defense, for your experts, for your private investigator. They're getting paid. We saw that his private investigator, Sam, got $10,000 already.
And that's not even the updated
Has he gone through the hard drive that has all of this exculpatory evidence? No, he hasn't. Because when we ask him, he says, I haven't gone through it yet. Well, sir, can you go through it? Your client is telling you there is major exculpatory information on this hard drive.
By the way, Brad Haywood is in a lot of trouble because Mustafa at the time wrote a letter to the presiding judge, Judge Carol Weimer, that Mustafa is not okay with his defense attorney, Brad Haywood, waiving his speedy trial.
I mean, Judge Weimer is
That's on the record, by the way. By the way, that's on the record. Whether Judge Weimer is compromised, whether the lawyer is protecting the county, that's on the record that his lawyer never consulted with him. Mustafa is not okay with waiving his speedy trial.
And I find it interesting that the judge never addresses these letters. It's like he's sending a letter to nowhere.
Look,
I mean, they're on the record, but the judge never talks about them.
Look,
as if they don't exist.
I'll tell you something, and I think that's a really good, fair approach to Mustafa's current defense attorney. I'm not accusing him of doing anything. I'm just simply
asking
questions and reporting on the Mustafa Aljazairi, what his defense attorney is doing in the Mustafa Aljazairi case. Now, I find it really interesting, and at the same time, it's funny how my approach is to this defense attorney. I'm not saying he's working for the county, but I am saying he's working for the county. But the community is the deciding factor. Now, I want to play a video for you that I think you're gonna find really funny. And this is exactly how I'm approaching Mustafa's defense attorney, Brad Haywood. If you do me a favor, go over to exhibits. This is me right here.
The thing about the red hat that drove me to a point of exhaustion, which was misdiagnosed by I'm not going to say what race, what people, doctor, and what hospital, and what media went to. We know I can't say that. It was a Jewish doctor.
I think that's a good way of approaching Mustafa's defense attorney. Let me turn this off. It's a good way of approaching Mustafa's defense attorney. I'm not accusing him of doing anything. I'm just this outlet, this podcast, is simply reporting on the play-by-play of what Mustafa's defense attorney is doing in the Mustafa Aljazairi case. Now, I understand Brad Haywood is really upset. For me, I mean, and the thing is, the thing that I don't understand, and I find it really interesting, Brad Haywood is upset for me reporting on what you are doing in the Mustafa Aljazairi case. You're upset because I'm reading the public transcript of what you are saying in the Mustafa Aljazairi case? How does that make any sense? Unless you're doing something wrong that you don't want this community to find out.
I mean, you say he was...
Does that make sense?
You say he was satisfied with the reprimand files, that he doesn't need them. You're reading that off an order that was submitted to the court. You're not saying, hey, Brad, I think you're not looking at the reprimand files. No, you're not saying that. You're saying, I'm literally looking at an order where you decided not to look at the reprimand files. Why not? What happened when you went in to the prosecutor's office to look at these files? I mean, like, where did they touch you? Or what happened?
Here, this is I don't know what that is.
Like, I'm serious.
It's a green frog right here. It's a green frog. Brad Haywood, when you went into the prosecutor office to look at their reprimand file, where was the frog touched? Here.
I mean, what happened?
Is that what they did to him? I mean, he came out a completely different person.
He came in all aggressive, talking about, I want the body cams of the police interaction with the children prior to the forensic interview, because we know that exists, obviously. The child literally says, police coached him before the interview. Okay? Yeah. So where are the body cams? Why are you all of a sudden no longer pursuing that exculpatory evidence? That evidence that shows the police were not only biased, but they were criminal in their actions. They're tampering with evidence. They destroyed the car. They abused children. Sarah Sammy sits there and tells the judge that no one spoke to the children other than the psychologist that is trained to deal with children. and you have a document, we showed it last time, that shows
By the way,
Prosecutor Sammy.
I'm listening to you. I'm just trying to pull up the order where he literally withdrew that he's going to look at the...
I mean, that is crazy. It's not like we're saying, hey, we think you're doing this. No, it's literally on an order, and we're asking why. Why are you doing that? Why have you abandoned these Brady motions all of a sudden? What happened at the prosecutor's office? What happened in that ex parte motion that you no longer are going after the police for misconduct? What happened? And I think it's a fair question.
That's a very fair question. I mean,
there's a lot of other things that we wanted to get into. I don't know if you want to get into it now or...
I just want to read that one part. I mean, that
about
I think
the
that's...
dash cam.
Oh,
piece.
absolutely. Look, this is going to be a long podcast. We're going to go into it. Let's see. I mean, let's see. I want to find that one part. If you want to pull up exhibits, let's look for it together. Do you see it anywhere? Let's see. This is page 1. Okay, so this is page 1. This is the order. Okay, so you have a Brady motion, and the judge granted him all those Brady motions. And then he sits down with the prosecutor, and then
they write an order.
And he literally didn't even want it anymore.
He didn't want it.
What happened?
What happened?
Okay, so let's see really quick. Item 1.
Like, I mean, it literally says defense request.
Do you see where he withdrew? It's not here, right? It's probably on the second page. Let's see. It's on the second page.
Can you zoom it in some more?
Yeah, like this.
Yeah.
There we go. Item 14. Request 14A through G. Defense request, record or information revealing criminal or professional misconduct, internal discipline, or credibility related issues concerning officers or witnesses. Court ruling, defense, Mustafa's lawyer, withdraws its request as to internal affairs file. At this time, the Commonwealth agrees to allow defense counsel to review the CWA summary. So she's going to type up a summary. Okay? She's not going to give him the actual file. She's going to type us. And given the track record of this prosecutor, she's lying.
A liar.
She's a flat out liar. Exactly. So why give him a summary? Why is he okay with a summary of a prosecutor that's using officers to lie instead of going in when the judge granted you to go in and look at those files? So CWA summary of internal affairs file or schedule at time for review. A protective order is entered regarding these material. Defense may refile if it later identifies deficiencies. The Commonwealth agrees to disclose all witness criminal history to defense counsel. He literally withdrew when the judge allowed him to go in and find out about these officers. When you find out officers that are not certified, officers that are literally not certified, and when you find out that prosecutor Sarah Sammy put an officer on the stand to testify as an expert witness when he's not certified.
What did you see at that office that made you withdraw your request? That the judge granted you, by the way. You were granted that information. And why have you not shared it with your client? Why have you not shared it with the defendant who sits in solitary confinement, who's counting on you to do the right thing?
It's crazy.
He's counting on you. And you're concealing information from him?
I think to put things in perspective, let's go back to understanding who our Commonwealth attorney is, Commonwealth Amy Ashworth, and let's take a look at the individuals that was acquitted because the county doesn't have a case against this person, so they acquitted him. Now,
I mean, wasn't she just sued for $22,000?
Absolutely.
For withholding FOIA, for violating FOIA requests?
Amy Ashworth has a track record of denying FOIA.
And she had to pay $22,000? This was what?
Taxpayers' money. That's not her money. That $22,000?
March 19th, 2025. Okay, she was fined $22,000 for violating freedom of information requests. Basically withholding exculpatory material, withholding information that should have been released.
I'm going to pull it up on the screen for you. If you want to go over to exhibits, I've got the article on the news for you.
This is what we're dealing with, by the way.
This is
Okay?
Commonwealth's Amy
If this
Ashworth.
if this is the Commonwealth attorney, imagine the standard she's setting for the prosecutors, her subordinates like Sarah Sammy, Stephanie Buck, O'Sullivan, or whatever his name is, Mallet.
Mallet, I think Mallet is not even on the case anymore. I didn't see him in the filing. He's not even there.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised.
I think he was sitting outside the court last time.
If people run away, because I mean, you're literally putting innocent people in jail based on no evidence, based on misconduct. I mean, would Sarah Sammy be okay to be in Mustafa's position and for her office to do whatever they're doing to Mustafa? Would she be okay with that if that was her brother?
I mean,
She would be okay with it?
I mean, Mustafa Aljazairi
To mute his dash camera only to push forward a false narrative just so that they don't look like liars? I mean, you can't accept you made a mistake.
The bottom line is
You can't accept you made a mistake.
the bottom line is
and just acknowledge the truth.
The Mustafa Aljazairi case. When you look into the Mustafa Aljazairi case, you find out what the county is doing. A white girl and her 5-year-old baby died. A Mustafa lived. They don't care that Mustafa did everything he can to avoid a car accident. They don't care that Mustafa did everything he can to save his family. That white girl and her baby is his family. Evidence show, the computer inside the vehicle show that Mustafa's foot is on the brake the whole entire time. Wait a minute. They never told the community that Mustafa's foot was on the brake the whole entire time. They never told the community that the police department inspected Mustafa's vehicle on body cam. It shows that they found brake failure. I have the body cam that they buried for 2.5 years. They never showed and told the community that Mustafa's steering angle, there's a computer inside the vehicle that shows you the steering angle. Mustafa's steering angle is counterclockwise. Wait a minute. For 2.5 years, they've been telling the community that Mustafa drove into oncoming traffic. His steering angle is counterclockwise, away from the vehicles. Wait a minute. The dash cameras show that Mustafa did everything he can to avoid a vehicle accident. The goddamn dash cameras show there is no argument inside the vehicle. They're literally sharing a cigarette.
How could you be arguing if you're sharing a cigarette? Seconds before the accident.
They never told the community that Mustafa's toxicology report is no alcohol and no drugs.
I mean, I asked these people the question. Amy Ashworth, Sarah Sammy, Julie Carey, Chief Newsham. If this was your loved one who got in a car accident, would you be okay with the treatment that Mustafa's getting from this prosecutor's office, from this police department? Would you be okay with that kind of behavior, with this level of falsification, with this level of corruption? Would you be okay with your family member being on the other side?
Well,
Okay?
to them, a Mustafa is not even a human being.
He's not
Let's
even
be
considered
honest.
a human being.
I mean, when you find out who Mustafa is, not only that his family is white, that's not the only. That's not the only reason.
That's a very interesting take
That's-
because we spoke to someone just the other day, and he was saying that these people are looking at Mustafa like he doesn't deserve these rights. These rights are not afforded to him, even though he's a United States citizen. He's never truly a United States citizen because they look at him through a different lens. He's not entitled to these rights.
I mean, when you find out that Mustafa was suing the police before the vehicle accident, Mustafa had $500,000 lawsuit against the police because the police violated his rights, and Mustafa was suing them. He had a giant lawsuit against the police that literally, on the body cams that I have, shows the minute the officer showed up, they're talking about Mustafa. They're talking about watching Mustafa. They were already watching Mustafa, and they were already upset that a Mustafa in this county is suing the police. And they have to put Mustafa back into his place. I mean, body cams that show Mustafa is on the floor in a coma in front of his vehicle. And officers are talking about that we're watching Mustafa. And they condemned, by the way, they said Mustafa is at fault and is guilty the minute they showed up. Wait a minute. You haven't watched the dash camera. You haven't looked at the computer inside the vehicle, the ACM. You haven't reconstructed the vehicle accident. You haven't done anything.
You haven't talked to anybody.
And you condemn him guilty that he's at fault?
Yeah. That's what it looks like. And Brad Haywood wants to come in and say, I'm going to withdraw the motion to look at the reprimand files. He's okay with Robert Drumm, Chad Mason, falsifying and lying. That's okay to him. That's okay to him. What kind of deal or what kind of threat were you given when you entered that prosecutor's office? What was said to you that you did a 180 degree and you just ran the other way. I mean, he literally ran to the circuit court. He put in a motion saying, I want to withdraw out of the case. I'm out of here. I don't want to do this anymore.
On the record, he said Mustafa is innocent and the police botched up and there's a bias in this whole entire investigation.
We don't have to speculate.
But he wants to withdraw out of this case.
Why the lawyer is withdrawing. Why did the previous lawyer withdraw? I mean, we know why she withdrew.
Do me a favor. Go over to Exhibit. I have a video why the previous lawyer
Let's
withdrew.
listen to Mustafa's previous attorney and why she withdrew from the case. Okay?
He's releasing all of this crap on the internet about his brother's case. All kinds of videos that he has no right to be released.
She says, you've been releasing information about Mustafa's case all over the internet, right? Mustafa was arrested April 7th, right? 2023.
That's right.
You've been releasing information since 2023. Elaine Jarvis came into the picture on August of 2024. It's fair to say that you've been posting about Mustafa's case for a year. You took on the case. Where was Mustafa's family? We were literally camped outside of the jail, protesting every single day, posting every single day. You were posting stuff every single day. I mean, actually, you were broadcasting every single minute for 6 months. It's all over your
What do
YouTube.
you mean? I supplied her with the file.
No, but here's the thing.
And
You were
this
broadcasting live. Every single day you were broadcasting live.
When I met this lady, I gave her a file, and then she got me on to starting a podcast. She basically told me, I need you to get on a podcast, and the file that you're giving me, release it. And I mean, how do you think now I learned how to do podcasts and all that?
When
It's her. And then she turns around and she's like, he's releasing. Lady, I was already releasing before I met you.
When we met Elaine
I gave you the file.
When we met her.
How did you file Mustafa's lawsuit?
You told her I stole. You said I stole the prosecutor's file.
It's on video.
To my brother. I stole it.
And I'm telling her details that you can look. I told her I stole files from the server for the police department. I stole files from the FBI. And here, Elaine, I have it. Here you go. It's yours now.
And she says, okay, let's sign a retainer. And now she's complaining that you're posting
And then she
videos.
brings me into her office. She's like, we have to do a podcast for you.
I'm talking about, go back to this specific point. She says, he's posting this and that. He's been posting. When you came on, you took his case because he was posting. So don't try to use that as an example.
That's
but we're
crazy.
going to get to the real reason why she withdrew from the case.
I'm going to rewind because
He's releasing all of this crap on the internet about his brother's case. All kinds of videos that he has no right to be releasing.
do you know I had to wash that mustache for like 4 months?
Do you have the audio where she says that?
I mean, look at that mustache.
I mean, that's crazy.
That's crazy. Which audio?
That he has no right to be releasing. He's also releasing basically gore porn of Tatiana David, who got killed by the Virginia State Police. And he's released all of that. None of that should be released. Tatiana David should not be on with her breast bare.
I
That
agree.
is not
and
right.
that motherfucker who they're charging should not be the one being fully charged either.
It's this
And that they put for another year.
And I've told the Virginia State Police that I'm afraid they're going to kill me because I've spoken out about it. And I'm still afraid they're going to kill me. Now I'm afraid they're going to railroad me and set me up for something that I have not done.
You're afraid of who?
The Virginia State Police.
Okay.
I'm afraid of the police.
Gotcha.
I'm afraid,
I'm afraid
of the police.
A lawyer that's been practicing law for just about over 20 years.
I'm afraid of the police.
Now, we don't have to assume what's going on with this new defense attorney, Brad Haywood. This is the previous
Why is
attorney.
he threatened by the
now,
police?
the Tatiana David is a very disturbing body cam. On body cam, it shows that Virginia State Police and Prince William County murdered a black girl.
Murdered a woman, dragged her body.
Dragged her out of... murdered
car and then
Tatiana
lied
David,
about it.
dragged her out of the vehicle, put her away from the vehicle, only to come out on the news and say, we found her
And then
outside
Julie
the vehicle.
Carey covered up for them.
And Julie Carey absolutely covered up for the police department the same way she's
Bullshit.
covering up for the police department in the Mustafa Aljazairi case. Now,
I mean, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised how the
I
media...
have an audio, by the way.
I'm not
I have
surprised.
an audio.
Look,
By the way, I have an audio. I wanted to tell you. I have an audio and that Elaine Jarvis took the stand in Warren County because Elaine Jarvis at one point came after me to have me shut down my podcast. And what she's doing is the county threatened her with her bar license or gave her an ultimatum. And she came after me in Warren County.
what did she
And
say?
an injunction. She put an injunction. She wanted me to shut down my podcast. Now, on the stand, I cross-examined her. And on the stand, Elaine Jarvis, this lawyer, testified to, and I have a recording of what she
we
said.
have a transcript of it as well. So
I
go
have a
ahead.
transcript. I have a recording. Now, she said that Virginia State Police raided her office and purged the Mustafa Aljazairi file and the Tatiana David video. Body cams.
Virginia State Police entered a lawyer's office, a lawyer that is filing a civil rights case in the federal court, and she's also on a co-counsel on the criminal case. And Virginia State Police entered her office and took the defendant's discovery file.
I mean, how does that look?
And that is crazy.
The same entity,
According to the lawyer, and she withdrew, and she was punished for it.
the
in
same
Prince William
agency,
County.
the same agency that murdered Tatiana David
Entered the lawyer's office.
entered the lawyer office to take that body cam to cover up.
Take the discovery file
That's
from
crazy.
her.
They took Mustafa's
Like,
hard drive.
where is this okay?
But-
In what country is this okay?
By the way, they took the Tatiana
Last I
David
checked, we
video.
were still in America.
That's crazy. They took the Tatiana David video and they took Mustafa's hard drive.
I mean, are we still in America? Is this still a country for the people, by the people? When you have an agency go in to your lawyer's office, take away your discovery material from your lawyer, how do you expect a lawyer to react? I mean, withdrawing is like nothing. She probably would have like skipped town and went to another state. But she withdrew immediately, right after. Who wouldn't? Okay, and we're looking at Brad Haywood, who went into the prosecutor's office to look at reprimand files, and all of a sudden he's running to the circuit court clerk, trying to post his notice to withdraw from the case. That's the same thing that happened here. Did they raid Brad Haywood's office? Because every time Mustafa asks him, did you go through my hard drive? And he says, I haven't gone through it. I haven't gone through it. Well, why haven't you gone through it? Did the state police come in and take it?
I specifically asked Brad Haywood on a phone call, on a recorded phone call. You heard the phone call.
I heard it.
I asked Brad Haywood, did you go through Mustafa's hard drive?
He said no.
He said no. I mean, how is that possible?
Mustafa asked him the
He's
same
been
thing.
sitting on Mustafa's case for just about a year, and trial is just around the corner in March. And the hard drive that the county is giving Brad Haywood, Mustafa's defense attorney, is 1 terabyte of material. You have to, as a lawyer, you have to go through it. You have to cut it into exhibits.
Because it's exculpatory information. It's exculpatory. Mustafa was arrested on April 7th. According to Drumm's falsified warrant, Mustafa had an abusive relationship with Dorothy and her children. Wouldn't you think the first thing you're going to look at is Mustafa's communication with Dorothy?
That's crazy.
Wouldn't you think the first thing you're going to look at is the Google Nest on Mustafa's phone? Camera that records 24/7 inside the apartment. Wouldn't you think that's the first thing you're going to look at?
Especially
exculpatory information that disproves the police's narrative, the falsified narrative by Robert Drumm. Wouldn't you think that's the first thing? I mean, the prosecutor is really honed in on this abusive relationship, this toxic relationship, and the police have Mustafa's communication. They have his entire cell phone. They have Dorothy's 3 or 4 phones, whatever she had in the car. They have 4 phones that belong to Dorothy. Mustafa's cell phone. According to Blake Weiner, Mustafa's previous attorney, he says it's close to 1 terabyte, that amount of information. Yet we have 800 plus pages of police reports, and not a single page references a text message. Not a single page references a Google Nest video where Mustafa was allegedly abusive. Not a single one. You're telling me the county, the government has 1 terabyte of personal information, and they never cited it in the last 2.5 years? They never cited anything from those devices? And every lawyer has to get a physical copy of this hard drive? It's not on evidence.com. It's 2025. What are you going to send it through a bird? Why are you sending it on a separate drive? And why are the state police going into his lawyer's office to purge that drive? Why are they going after that drive?
Well, when you find out what's on this drive, things start making sense. Mustafa had an app on his cell phone connected to the dash camera that automatically uploads the dash camera into his cell phone. Direction app. He has another app for the Google Nest videos inside the apartment. Google Nest videos. And I remember Alexa has an app for Alexa.
Text messages, iMessage.
Now, in this case, evidence showed that the police department cut and muted Mustafa's dash camera. Now, the problem here for the police department, even though they cut and muted this dash camera, literally, they testified. Chad Mason testified to cutting and editing this dash camera. Now, the problem here, even though you have an officer that cut and muted this dash camera, the original dash camera is already uploaded to Mustafa's cell phone. When the police department did a cell phone dump, the dash camera is there. And now this lawyer is being mailed a 1 terabyte hard drive that's not in the server. Why is it not uploaded in the server? Instead, it's downloaded into a hard drive, 1 terabyte hard drive, and is given to the lawyer. And the lawyer says, I didn't go through it.
But
why not?
I'll tell you something really funny.
Yeah.
And that is the police, in their warrant for Mustafa's device and Dorothy's device, they cite that Mustafa was reckless in his driving. Okay? And the reason why they went into the phone is because they want to see which app he was manipulating as he was driving. We know he wasn't on the phone. He was on the phone at the stoplight before the car started moving. But the police referenced that Mustafa was utilizing an app on the phone, that he was reckless in his driving because he was on the phone. And that was the justification for taking his phone. Now, wouldn't you think if you applied for a warrant, you showed a magistrate judge that you had enough probable cause to take that man's cell phone and run it through your system and extract everything off of it? Wouldn't you think there would be a citation in any of the police report about something from the phone? But the police are completely ignoring this phone. They're ignoring it as if it doesn't even exist. You have a whole entire warrant. I mean, you took that phone. 1 terabyte is a lot of information. You took those phones, those 4 phones, and you ran it through Cellbrite, whatever that program they use to download information from cell phones, okay? You got all that information. You're alleging the guy's abusive. You're alleging he abused children. Yet you've never cited in your entire 800-plus page police report, you've never cited anything from the phone. And to take it a step further, you took the cell phone information and put it on a separate hard drive so that in case a lawyer comes in and he goes through evidence.com, he goes through all the evidence you've uploaded to the server, maybe he just might miss the hard drive that you have to physically mail out. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense.
I mean, Mustafa's defense attorney is completely... The prosecutor has been avoiding it for 2.5 years. Not once did she reference anything in this hard drive. I mean, not once did she reference anything in Mustafa's cell phone, Dorsey's cell phone, completely quiet and not bringing anything from the drive. Now the lawyer is completely quiet.
I mean, Blake saw this hard drive, right?
That's right.
Blake saw this hard drive.
We don't have to speculate, by the way.
He said, I mean, yeah, I'm going off the notes from the transcript. He says he went through the hard drive. There's dash cam footage on it, Google Nest, text message communication. I mean, it's everything you would imagine is on a cell phone. It's on that cell phone. It's on that hard drive. And what did Blake do? He mailed it to Elaine Jarvis. The same Elaine Jarvis that we just saw said she's terrified of the police. She's terrified they're going to kill her. And in a motion down in Warren County where you cross-examined her, She admitted that Virginia State Police came in and took that hard drive.
That's right.
Because after Blake withdrew, there was a question as to where this hard drive was. And Elaine never mailed it back to Blake. She never mailed it back to the court. And Brad Haywood, when he came on, he had to get a new copy from the prosecutor. Where's Mustafa's old drive that was mailed to Blake, mailed to Elaine? Where is it?
Well, Elaine tells us Virginia State Police took it. Do me a favor, go over to Exhibit. I want to read the transcript so we don't have to sit here and speculate what's on this 1 terabyte drive. Blake Weiner, the previous defense attorney, on November 20th, 2024, says the data extraction from multiple cell phones of the two individuals in this case who have passed, as well as, I believe, like a third family phone. There might even be a fourth phone.
It's 4 phones.
4 phones.
1 is Mustafa's, and 3 are Dorothy's.
But it's multiple cell phones, as well as, I believe, all of the data. Oh, I'm sorry. Also, one of the cell phones for my client, and also the data extraction from the dash camera that was part of this case. In total, off the top of my head, I believe the data extraction, it was large enough that it needed at least a 1 terabyte hard drive for the Commonwealth to put the data in.
By the way, I'll just mention something that was mentioned to me by a witness that was with Dorothy the night before the accident. And they saw an email onto Dorothy's phone that was a threat made by one of her ex-partners. Okay? I'm not going to go into detail of it. Okay? But all I know is there was a letter that was emailed to her on her device that was a threat to end her life and Mustafa's life. Okay? This was an email sent to her by an ex-partner. Okay?
The ex-husband.
Now here's the thing. The police are concealing Dorothy's information from her cell phone because, think about it like this. The moment you realize, or the moment it becomes fact or public, that Dorothy received a threat from an individual, an ex-partner, the police have to investigate that, okay? Because you're looking at a car that has brake failure, okay? You're looking at a fatality that happened due to brake failure, and now you have to investigate everything. But how convenient it is to just seal that cell phone communication away, to just put Dorothy's emails on a hard drive where nobody's going to look through it, okay? So that they don't have to explore this avenue. Was Dorothy being threatened by an ex-partner? I can tell you for certain that I spoke to someone that was there with Dorothy the night before, okay? And they say they physically read an email that was a threat to her life by an ex-partner. Now, why are the police not exploring that option? Now, why are they not looking into that individual? Why not?
Now, did you know that in one of the body cams in Mustafa's case, there is an Officer Josie with Prince William County Police Department responds to that individual's house. He was on house arrest and he had broken his ankle bracelet and fled, ran away.
Look, at the end of the day, this is what we're going to say. The police are not doing their job. It's fair to say the police are definitely not doing their job here, okay? Because you have a Glenn Ford who openly admitted to drugging and sleeping with Dorothy's minor child.
She's 16 years old.
Okay? He openly admitted to it. Now, are the
on
police...
a recorded line, he admitted
Are the
to it.
police going to investigate a predator? It doesn't look like they are. Actually, matter of fact, Amy Ashworth is protecting this predator because he was caught with drugs. He was caught with a weapon, okay? And he was brandishing that weapon, and he was charged with intent to distribute, Schedule 1 or 2 or whatever it was. And Amy Ashworth wiped his record clean. A pedophile, and she wiped his record clean. Why? Because he's doing the work for the county. He's going to come in, and he's going to patch up the police misconduct. He's going to patch up the prosecutor's lies. They can't just come out and say, hey, we fucked up.
Well, not only that.
They can't say that.
Not only that, Investigator Davis.
Too much pride.
Investigator Davis on body cam is seen talking to that individual, Glenn Ford, the ex-boyfriend, and is telling him, we need to get our ducks in a row. Glenn Ford, we need you to get Mustafa off the street. We need you.
They're talking to a predator, a child predator.
They're talking to the ex-boyfriend, and then this ex-boyfriend says a whole bunch of lies about Mustafa and his girlfriend. And then he says,
I never met the guy.
He said, I never met the guy. He doesn't know me. Wait a minute. I never saw anything.
I never saw anything.
Wait a minute. What kind of witness are you relying on that's telling you on body cam? By the way, this body cam was sealed.
It's sealed. It's still sealed till this day.
And I just happen to have it.
You happen
now,
to steal it.
We can verify that your witness is a liar.
By the way, they were going to seal that body cam from everybody, and they were going to coach Glenn Ford on what to say in trial. They're going to teach him what to say, and then he's going to come in as the star witness. But now you can't do that because he openly admitted on the body cam you stole. He said, I've never met Mustafa a day in my life. We never even communicated before. He didn't even recognize me the night of the accident.
I find it really interesting that he makes a lot of
allegations.
allegations.
Jealous of someone you've never met.
That's
prosecutor wants to say Mustafa was jealous of Dorothy's ex-boyfriend. How could you be jealous of someone
that you don't know?
You've never met, you've never seen a day in your life, you've never communicated with. How could you be jealous of that person? Glenn Ford is openly saying, I've never met him. He says Mustafa doesn't even know who I am. So
I find it interesting that Glenn Ford, the ex-boyfriend, makes multiple claims to Investigator Davis that Dorothy texted him, that Dorothy told him that Mustafa is abusive, and then when Investigator Davis asked him, do you have those text messages? He said, I deleted them.
I deleted them.
Wait a minute. One, Investigator Davis could have taken out a subpoena for his cell phone, and even though Glenn Ford deleted the text messages, you can still retrieve them.
You can still retrieve it.
Forget all of that. You've got Dorsey's cell phone.
Exactly. Did you verify?
Well, the county is hiding. They did a cell phone dump, and instead of uploading to the server, they put on a drive that they don't want to look at. And Mustafa's current defense attorney says, I didn't look at it. You've been sitting on Mustafa's case for a whole year.
By the way,
you're not going to check. I mean, the star witness for the prosecution is Glenn Ford and the 16-year-old, Kylie
that
Clapp. He slept with. A minor. That Glenn Ford, the ex-boyfriend, slept with. So the prosecution is relying on those two individuals. The text messages, you don't go through the text messages between Dorothy and her ex-boyfriend to verify if she actually texted this guy.
By the way, I'll mention Mustafa.
Do you see what I'm talking about?
Mustafa and Dorothy only knew each other for 3 months, so it's not that far back that you have to research. All you have to do is go through 4, 8, 12 weeks.
Exactly.
12 weeks of communication. How much communication could Dorothy have with Glenn Ford if they're not together? Maybe. If it exists, a message, 2 messages. If so, did Officer Rob Davis go back into the file and verify whether Glenn Ford was telling him the truth? But we know for a fact Rob Davis is not looking for the truth because he's actively coaching Glenn Ford on what he wants him to say. He's actively telling him, we need you, Glenn. I mean, he's looking at Glenn's record. He's like, God damn. Like, what the fuck? We still need you, man. We still need you. If it wasn't for Mustafa, he would probably pepper spray him and beat the shit out of him, throw him in jail. But because we need you for this case, Glenn Ford, you're one of us, buddy. How's it going today, buddy?
What do you mean? At one point, he thanks Glenn Ford for his service. He's homeless. He doesn't have a job. He doesn't even have a car. He just got done telling him, I don't have a car.
Thank you for your service.
He's telling him, thank you for your service. What are you talking about?
And then you find out, thank you for your service
when you look
for
up this guy's
drugging
record,
and raping a minor.
That's crazy. He's on a recorded line talking about
drugging and sleeping with Dorothy's child.
Admitting to sleeping and drugging a 16-year-old.
I mean, we have to really think about, listen. If the police were really interested in solving crimes, they would have put a subpoena, just like they put a subpoena for Tanisha Coleman's Blink camera. They would have put a subpoena for Glenn Ford. You're telling me that the woman that just passed away was texting you, she was sending you messages saying that her boyfriend's abusive. Right? You're telling the police that. A serious investigator would say, now that you made that statement, I'm going to subpoena your phone and you better be telling the truth. But they don't do that. Actually, they're not even looking. They're like, oh, you deleted it? Oh, man, I understand. It's okay.
You did a cell phone dump on Dorothy's cell phone. You can go into Dorothy's cell phone
did you not check?
and check.
Why not check today?
For 2.5 years, the prosecutor never brought up Dorothy's cell phones, Mustafa's cell phone, never even talked about it, as if it doesn't exist. What's going on with Mustafa's defense attorney, Brad Haywood?
Exactly.
He's been sitting on Mustafa's case for a year now.
I mean, that's the witness. What is it called?
I asked him, did you go through the drive?
The credibility.
Brad? Exactly. Did you go through the drive, Brad? He said, no, I haven't gone through it. Can you sit down with Mustafa and go over this drive, this exculpatory evidence? He gets angry.
Look,
he doesn't want to do it.
When you think about this whole entire case, right? It's a car accident. Clearly, the police identified brake failure. Clearly, you see from Mustafa's data recorder that he was on the brake the entire time. There are skid marks from Mustafa's vehicle where he was trying to avoid an accident. A psychologist expert examined the dash camera and said, this is consistent with someone who's panicking, trying to avoid an accident.
I want to go over the affidavit.
Okay,
with you.
so given that information, the police still accused Mustafa, but based on what? Based on Glenn Ford, who lied to them, Tanisha Coleman, who lied to them, and the children that have nothing to do with this. They were weaponized. They were abused by the police only to incite a negative response against Mustafa. So if the police were really investigating this case, they would have said, Glenn Ford, what is your evidence that this man was abusive? Okay? I mean, Robert Drumm can look into Mustafa's criminal background and he can see if there were any incidents of abuse, any calls to the police, and there were none. Mustafa has no record of abuse. He just met the woman 3 months ago, okay? Yet Robert Drumm is willing to lie. They're willing to falsify and bring in individuals
let me ask you,
that are manufacturing probable cause to arrest Mustafa.
A month before the vehicle accident, I think either Kylie, yeah, that's right, Kylie, called in the police. Glenn Ford, the ex-boyfriend, says Kylie was harassing her mom, stalking Mustafa. Apparently, Kylie, the 16-year-old, is connected to a club owner that has a giant problem with Mustafa. Her dad works for the club owner.
I mean, she's literally sleeping with the ex-boyfriend.
Exactly. So at one point, she calls the police. The police show up at the apartment, and they do a wellness check. Now, where is the body cams from the wellness check? Because the police showed up and they said, absolutely, there is no abuse. They went in, they checked the fridge, they talked to Dorothy, they talked to the kids. The police showed up, there is no abuse. So in a case where the county says you're being charged with that you hate your family and you did this intentionally, where are the body cams? You would think that's exculpatory evidence. You think the body cams that are literally a month ago would be irrelevant here. And the question is, where is Mustafa's defense attorney from asking for those body cams?
Forget the body cams. Forget those body cams. Where is Dorothy's communication with Kylie after making that false claim against her mom? Because I remember hearing that Kylie and Dorothy were not getting along. And what Javen told me on the night of the accident, he said one of his sisters, and by the way, I didn't know the names, okay, but I have in our recording.
Kylie says, Mom blocked me. He chose Mustafa over me.
Javen says I said, do you have any sisters? He says, I have a sister, Kylie, who's trying to ruin our lives. He says he has a sister that is trying to ruin their lives. She won't leave them alone. Okay? He's talking about Kylie. Kylie would not leave them alone.
The 16-year-old that doesn't live at the apartment.
She wasn't supposed to have contact with her mother. I mean, there's a reason for it. Okay? She's sleeping with her mom's ex-boyfriend. This is a minor. Okay? Being drugged and whatever with the ex-boyfriend. Okay? She's actively trying to ruin her mother's life. And that's why there's who knows why, but there was a separation order. They're not supposed to make contact. But when she makes an allegation of child abuse and the police they have a hold of Dorothy's phone, you can see what communication Dorothy was having with Kylie. Okay? And I can only imagine it's something like, why are you falsely calling the police on me? Why are you trying to ruin my life? And Brad Haywood has that communication, by the way.
Do me a favor, go over to Exhibit. I'm going to play exactly that forensic interview portion with Kylie, where she says, Mom chose boyfriend. She blocked me. Mom blocked me and chose boyfriend over me.
I thought he was abusive. How could she block you
Now,
if he's abusive? That doesn't make any sense.
The Commonwealth attorney is using that 16-year-old who doesn't live in the apartment, didn't see anything, tell you I didn't see anything.
Never met Mustafa, but I think a day in her life. About an hour or two, he gave her a ride to her dad's house, and that was the end of it.
Her stepdad, her dad, she lives with her dad, and her dad works for a club owner that apparently, before he met her mother 3 months ago, has a giant problem with Mustafa. This is a club owner out of Crystal City. He owns a strip club. And while Mustafa was promoting his business in that area, he showed up and he wanted to remove Mustafa off the property.
William Bain Jr.
William Bain Jr. And this video went viral for a white fat guy breathing down a Mustafa's neck for making a living. That video went viral. Now, the community at that time was boycotting that
So
club.
Kylie's dad works for him.
That is crazy.
Okay.
It's a
And
small.
that's Kylie.
That's Kylie. That's right there.
And what does she say in her interview? The psychologist asked her, what made you come here today? Why are you essentially here today?
My dad made me.
My dad made me. I mean, that tells you everything you need to know behind the motive for that minor to come in and sit down for this interview. She's not here for her mother, by the way. She's not here for anything other than her dad is pushing her to go in and say something nasty about Mustafa. And her dad works for William Bain Jr., who has a major problem with Mustafa.
I mean, you're going to love what I'm doing. You like how I know exactly where everything is? Do me a favor, go over to Exhibit. Let me play the portion where Kylie Clapp says, my dad is making me come here. The same dad that works for the club owner that has a giant problem with Mustafa. And the Commonwealth attorney is using her as a main witness. And Mustafa's defense attorney is nowhere to be found into looking into the drive of the text communication between the mother and that 16-year-old.
So tell me, Kylie, you said that you've talked to a lot of people and you've had this conversation. Let me see. Before we actually start talking about what it is that you're here to talk about, I just want to make sure that we're only talking about the things that are true and that really did happen, okay? So when you're in here, will you only tell me those things? Will you only tell me? Okay. So what is it that brought you here? Why are you here to talk to me today?
Because my dad made me.
Because your dad made you?
Because the detective kept calling him.
Okay. So,
the detective kept calling the dad that works for a club owner that hates Mustafa. Let me play another portion for you. Let's see.
Very interesting.
Interesting, right?
The detectives kept calling her dad, and her dad is basically making her go.
Now, clip 52 here. Let's see. There's a portion where she says, Mom picked boyfriend over me. Nope, that's it. I think this is it.
The very last time I talked to my sister, I hadn't talked to them in a while.
mm-hmm.
because this was before she had fully like made it clear that she chose him, but she like ghosted me to be with him. Because he would tell her stuff like, oh, that's not your daughter, that's a devil, blah, blah, blah. And because I would always be calling and I'd be like, can you come see me? Can you not bring him? Can you blah, blah. And he didn't like it. Mm-hmm. And the last time I saw them, they were in a fight. And my mom was like bitching the whole time about what he did and what he said and blah, blah, blah. And then I had to go help her take stuff out of storage because they were in a fight, so he wouldn't. And while my mom was in the gas station, because we were getting gas, because we had to go to like West Virginia, I'm pretty sure. And my sister told me, I had a video of it, I'm not sure if I have a video of it anymore, but it was telling me that they would
what
like,
she did a month. Okay, so the
kids
ex-boyfriend.
And
That's not the part though where she says.
That's not the part. Okay, so let me find the part for you. She's talking about, so the ex-boyfriend Glenford on a recorded line said Kylie is talking her mom and her boyfriend, her new boyfriend Mustafa. What she has done is a month before the vehicle accident, she went to the ex-boyfriend and told him, can we kill Mustafa and make it look like an accident? That's on a recorded line. Glenford says that. Now,
Glenford admits to that.
Glenford admitted to it, that she had come up to him and asked him to kill Mustafa. And can we
make
it? Now, the problem here is you have brake failure in Mustafa's vehicle. And you've got this girl going up to the ex-boyfriend, talking about killing Mustafa. And then what she had done a month before the vehicle accident, and there's a video in the file, that she sneaked into Mustafa's car, into her mom's car, into her mom's car, and then she recorded 5-year-old Empress. And you can clearly see that Empress had no idea what Kylie's talking about. And she's trying to get her to say that Mustafa is abusive. I mean, the video is, if you have kids, when you watch that video, you're going to see.
I've seen the video.
I've
seen it.
I mean, it's so obvious.
It's obvious because it's chopped up. It's cut here. It's cut there. You don't really know what the child is saying. It just looks like somebody nodding behind the camera and the child says, you're nodding? Okay, yes. I mean, look, if you really want to find out who Mustafa is and how he was with Dorothy and her children, the best thing to look at is how they were living. How were they when they're at home, when nobody's watching, when nobody's looking? How do you treat these kids? How do you treat Dorothy? How are they interacting? And that's all evident on the Google Nest. I mean, the Google Nest, he's lucky to have these videos, okay? Because the police, clearly, they have a copy of them, and they buried them. They buried them on a separate hard drive that every time a lawyer gets it, you got Virginia State Police coming in, barging in to take that hard drive back.
Now, you logged into Mustafa's clouds.
I logged into his iCloud, which means anything on his phone can go to the cloud.
And that's how you were able to get
the only way you can get something from a cloud is if it was on the phone. And the police have his phone. I was able to log into his iCloud and I downloaded all those videos.
So you're telling me
I downloaded the original Google Nest videos with the timestamp, when they were recorded, and they're all by motion. So there's a lot of videos, okay? All the way up to the moment they left the apartment.
So you're telling me for 2.5 years, the prosecutor office has Mustafa, they downloaded Mustafa's cell phone. Mustafa's cell phone has an app to the dash camera, to the Google Nest video, to the Alexa. The same way you accessed the cloud and were able to gain access into the home videos, the police department has access to the home videos. That when you have whoever's making claims that Mustafa is abusive, you have the Google Nest videos inside the apartment.
To that specific time.
Days on days inside the apartment. The day of the accident, the day before that. You can see the relationship. You can see the family inside the house. You can see how Mustafa is interacting with his family. Now, the Google Nest videos show it's a beautiful relationship. You're telling me the prosecutor office has those videos for over 2.5 years, and they never upload it to the server. Instead, put it on a drive.
Let me ask you a better question. Okay, why would, if police are truly investigating abuse, they're truly investigating this case, they're truly investigating Mustafa and his relationship with Dorothy and the children, if they were really investigating this case, would you not think that they would want every piece of evidence, whether it's for him, whether it's against him? Wouldn't you think they want every piece of evidence? I mean, if you go to your local police department, okay, and they say, they have a sign where they say, we are investigating this robbery at this location, right? And you say, I was there at that time and I recorded what happened. Okay, you go into that police department and you say, I have video of that robbery. You don't think a detective is going to say, hey, come on over, let's have a chat. Let me see the video. That's a normal response, okay? But when you talk to the Prince William County Police, you talk to the Prince William County prosecutors, you talk to the Manassas, Virginia FBI, and you tell them, I have videos from inside the apartment for days and days and days. I have videos from inside that apartment where you're accusing that man of being abusive. The prosecutor accused Mustafa of forcing Dorothy and Empress into the car. That was the accusation on day one. She said, this man forced Dorothy and Empress into the car. He was so angry at her that he took off with those two and he crashed his car into oncoming traffic. And I came in and I said, hey, I have videos from the apartment and I want to supply them to you. Sarah Sammy says, talk to your lawyer. Talk to your lawyer. We're not taking it. You go to Amy Ashworth during the jail board. She says, I can't talk to you. I can't talk to you. Talk to your lawyer.
What do you mean? Didn't Commonwealth Amy Ashworth threaten you with the sheriff office?
I'm literally in the prosecutor's office and I'm saying, I have videos that I want to give you. I have evidence. Regardless, whether it's for him, whether it's against him, I have videos from inside the apartment of the man you're accusing that's sitting in jail. I have videos of him inside that apartment and I'm here to give it to you on a flash drive. And she says, nope, we don't want it. We're not taking it. And if you don't leave, we're going to have the sheriff's office escort you out. Okay? You go to the police department and you say, I have videos that contradict what the officer wrote in his warrant. I have videos. The officer lied. I have the videos right here and I'm ready to give it to you. They don't want it. They're not interested. So you can logically, you can come to the conclusion that this police department, this prosecutor's office, they're not interested in the truth. They've already put out a narrative and they're going to stick to it no matter what.
Well,
they're going to stick to it.
When we found out 2.5 years later that Mustafa's cell phone has an app that's linked up to the Google Nest videos inside the apartment that they have on his cell phone when they did a cell phone dump.
Exactly.
They're not interested because what they've done. They
already have them.
They already have them and they've buried them in a hard drive. When they send it out to the lawyer, they're actually threatening the lawyer not to go over this hard drive. I mean, Mustafa's defense attorney today has been sitting on Mustafa's case for a whole entire year. And he wants to tell you, I didn't go through the drive. And when Mustafa tells him, I want to go through the drive, he gets angry and he doesn't want to go. Mustafa's defense attorney doesn't want to go over the drive with Mustafa. Why? Because it has the home video.
He's been threatened.
Brad Haywood has absolutely been threatened. He doesn't want to go over the home videos in that drive. He doesn't want to go over the dash camera before the police department cut and muted it. He doesn't want to go over the Alexa. He doesn't want to go over Mustafa's text messages. He doesn't want to go over Dorsey's text messages. Now, hold on now. This is exculpatory evidence specifically when Kylie, the individual that's being used by the county as a star witness, in the forensic interview, Kylie says, do me a favor, go over to exhibit. Kylie says that mom chose Mustafa over me and blocked me. Now, wait a minute. You're using Kylie as the star witness by the Commonwealth attorney. And you're not going to go into Dorsey's text and find out what did Dorothy block Kylie over? As a defense attorney,
exactly.
Brad Haywood,
the credibility of the witness.
That's not exculpatory evidence. You don't think that's the most important thing in this case? That you're going to find out if this individual that's being used by the county is lying to the county. Now, it's fair to say, if you're avoiding the hard drive, you're protecting the county. You're protecting Kylie. You're protecting the county's witness, who you have evidence that is lying about this case.
By the way, I'll say this.
Do me a favor. Yeah. I want to go over exhibit. I want to go over this because this is going to show that the hard drive is exculpatory evidence. Dorsey's text message is exculpatory evidence.
I'll say this about the hard drive, okay? The reason why police don't want it is because, I mean, this is what it looks like. The moment Internal Affairs opens up a file on one of those officers that are lying, they know for a fact, this officer has lied before in another case. The other officer lied in another case. How many people did Robert Drumm falsely put in prison by falsely testifying to lies? How many times? And clearly, Internal Affairs, they don't want to go down that route. Because the moment you open a file on Robert Drumm, the moment you open a file on Rob Davis, Rob Sermon, Chad Mason, the moment you open a file, they're all going to squeal, okay? And the moment they squeal, you're going to have the federal government run through that police department like I don't know what, okay? And the moment they open that can of worms, I guarantee you it's not just a Mustafa, okay? They're going to find stuff. I mean, he's been there for 20 years. You're going to find stuff that is from way back when. People that's been done 10 years, 15 years, and you're going to see a Robert Drumm, a Rob Davis, those old motherfuckers that's been there for a really long time, okay? And they're buddy-buddy with Internal Affairs. It's like, you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. But the moment you screw me over, I'm bringing the whole ship down. That's what it's like at that police department. And that's why they're terrified. I mean, you have a Brandon Doodley, okay? His job is to overlook if some piece of shit like Robert Drumm or Rob Davis, okay, or Chad Mason tamper with evidence. You're supposed to reprimand them, okay? But that's how corrupt they are. The moment you open a can of worms on Robert Drumm, now you're going to have to look at all the cases he lied in. Same thing with Davis, same thing with Chad Mason. How many times has the Prince William County Police lied and buried lies and tampering of evidence and false testimony? Okay, how many times have they done it? We know for a fact that when Tatiana David was shot and killed by the police, they buried it right away. No hesitation. No hesitation. They rounded up the officers. They briefed them. That was the end of it. You're going to take it to the grave. Okay? But you have that body cam. It's all over the internet. And they're going to get exposed. Okay? They're going to get exposed. That woman's life did not just go in vain. Okay? Mustafa is going through all this torture because of some dumb officers that have been gaming the justice system. They've been abusing the badge, and they think a Brandon Doodley, a Sarah Sammy, an Amy Ashworth, and Chief Newsham is going to defend them.
And now Brad Hayward.
They're going to protect. It's out of your boss's hands. Chief Newsham, Amy Ashworth, they cannot protect you. A SEAL is no longer a SEAL when you have the crime all over the internet. Everybody knows what Robert Drumm did. Everybody knows what Rob Davis did. Everybody knows what Robert Sermon did. Okay, and people in this community are watching. Okay, and they're terrified because they're thinking that could be my son.
Absolutely.
Okay,
I mean,
that could be my son.
The next time,
that could be my daughter. That could be me. I could be in a car accident. Okay, that could be in a car accident, and Robert Drumm could get a hold of me. Who knows?
The next time you call the police department, I mean, who are you going to get?
Who's going to show up?
Who's going to show up? You're going to get a Robert Drumm. You're going to get Investigator Chad Mason. You're going to get Officer Casey Fine, who's involved in the murder of Tatiana David.
If you think this is about Mustafa, I mean, you're on the wrong level.
Really quick, I want to go over this portion of the forensic interview where Kylie says, "My mom blocked me," and the reason this is relevant is because it's going to open the door to the hard drive, Dorothy's cell phone dump. What did the mother block Kylie for? The daughter says, "Mom chose boyfriend over me."
I mean, her and Glenn Ford are the reason the arrest warrant was issued for Mustafa.
Absolutely.
That's where all these allegations are stemming from.
They make
manufactured probable cause. So let's take a look at what really happened.
And the problem here for these individuals that are being used by the county, they literally say, we were not there, we didn't see anything. But the county sealed off those body cams. You literally have individuals that are manufacturing a story. For 2.5 years, the county says, I have witnesses. Well, your witnesses, when you look through those sealed body cams, say we were not there. They're manufacturing a story.
They all said they were not there.
And the question
Every
is,
single one of them.
And the question is, where is Mustafa's defense attorney? Why has he not gone through the hard drive and looked at the cell phone?
I mean, he should have looked at the hard drive from day one and filed bond, because Mustafa's sitting based on manufactured probable cause by these individuals. They're literally being coached by the police to say this, that, and the other so that they can hold this man without bond.
Let's take a look at what Kylie says about about mom choosing boyfriend over me and blocking me.
And then it was like what I noticed that he was like coming around more, but it was my mom was never really at home. She would kind of just leave my siblings in the hotel room all day. And I would go with her a lot of the times, because she liked having one of the older kids. That's like, once my sister left, she went to like rehab, then she went live with her dad. When she left, it was me, and she liked having like one of us as like her smoke buddies or something. So I would go with her a lot of places, and he would be there a lot of the time.
Like to the places that you'd go?
Yeah, and then she started leaving me to watch the kids and stuff, which she didn't really care about someone watching the kids. It was just she wanted like alone time with him, so it annoyed me because like.
I think at one point she says.
But by the way, if you notice, she's talking about Dorothy, who had just passed her mom in a negative light.
Oh, absolutely. She does that throughout the whole thing.
She's painting her mom in a negative light.
Her and the ex-boyfriend does that.
Glenn Ford, the first thing he tells Rob Davis, Dorothy was not a good mother. She was not a good mother. The officer is telling you your ex-girlfriend just died in a car accident, and that's the first thing you're going to say? She was a bad mother? I mean, that shows you what kind of relationship he had with Dorothy.
I think this is it.
So when I asked you about whether or not your mom told you if she said that she was scared or was fearful of him at all, correct me if I'm wrong, you said that she did. Is that right?
It was like okay, what I was just telling you. Mm-hmm. Sorry, no, I talk a lot.
That's okay. Like, yeah. This is a safe space for you to talk. This is what this room's about. To talk whatever you feel the need to talk about.
And I kind of get distracted, but there's like a point to where I'm going.
Yeah.
It just takes me a little bit to get there.
Yeah, I'll listen. Yeah,
but
that's what I'm here for.
So like basically, he just got progressively more and more there and overbearing, and it kind of felt like he acknowledged the fact that I had a lot of authority in the family because I took care of the kids a lot, took care of my mom a lot. Mm-hmm. I took care of everything a lot. I put a lot of money into that. And
a lot of money?
That's what she said.
Money?
By the way, earlier in the video, she said she's separated by CPS. She lives with her dad.
So how is she taking care of her mother a lot?
Exactly. She contradicts herself. She says
how is
one
she taking
thing
care of her mother if she's not making contact with her?
Exactly.
It felt like everything he did was kind of like a power play with me, if that makes sense. Like he just wanted to be like, I don't know. And it was annoying.
You met Mustafa once.
She's talking about
she said she met Mustafa once.
I knew that my mom kind of like valued her boyfriends, even though she had known them for 2 weeks, more than she valued the kids and taking care of everything.
Mom valued her boyfriend over everybody.
And she said she's only met him for 2 weeks. So in that 2 week time frame, you've already considered Mustafa a threat to you?
Well, when you find that her dad works for the club owner and she's hanging out with the strippers that work for the club owner.
We know that's why she's there that day. She says it.
She said, my dad's forcing me to come here.
So it was just frustrating. And then I started to realize he was around a lot more. And I don't know, like, I guess I kind of was freaking out, and I would call my mom a lot to try and get her to come pick me up, to be like, spend more time with her away from him, and kind of try and convince myself, I guess, that he wasn't. It's weird, and I don't know why, but.
Okay.
So her mom loves somebody, and she's upset. Okay, I mean, you slept with your mom's ex-boyfriend.
Wait until
he was giving you drugs.
There's a part where she says, "Mom blocked me." Dad does not like Mustafa. The dad that works for Billy.
So they got here, and I was like, you know what, fine, I just want to go see my siblings. And then they got here.
The same dad that's forcing her to be in the forensic interview.
And it was different when he was there, and it was like, it wasn't like they came inside, I just saw their car outside. And I just started to freak out, and I don't know why, but then I just never came out. She got really mad, and my dad was like in the window telling them to fuck off. And because he was drunk and he didn't like Moses. And
the dad was drunk and he didn't like Moses, and he said, fuck off. This is the time when she called her mom, and then her mom shows up at her dad's house, and then the mom is telling her, you said you were sick and there's something wrong with you. Why are you playing games? So Mustafa gave her mom a ride to her, like where her dad is, and then the mom finds out you're playing games.
And dad says...
And dad...
Fuck off.
Okay. All right. Listen. And then the mom blocks her.
Stupid. Okay. And that was the last, like, interaction I had with him. I didn't know.
With both of them? What did she say? That was the last interaction she had with them?
Yeah, so they...
With Mustafa and Dorothy.
With Mustafa. The mom blocked her, and that's the last time she saw her mom.
Was that the last interaction you had with your mom as well, or no?
Well, we had talked on the phone, and she told me that because of that I was playing games, and...
That part.
And she was done, and blah, blah, blah. And I could hear him in the background, like, talking shit about me, and it was just...
Mm-hmm.
And then basically, it was clear that we were done with each other. And I think we both blocked each other. And at that point is when I had...
We both blocked. Mom blocked me. Now, Mustafa's defense attorney, Brad Haywood, has been sitting on Mustafa's case since February. Mm-hmm. Trial is just around the corner in March. You wouldn't think the text message between Mustafa's girlfriend and Kylie that's being used
as
very
relevant.
I mean, that's exculpatory evidence.
Extremely relevant.
Unless you don't want to disqualify the witness for the county, and you're protecting the county's witness.
They put a lot of energy and time into this witness, and they're not expecting Brad to just...
Exactly. The minute you show... I mean, by the way...
He's not going to do that to Stephanie Buck.
Exactly. You know, I'll tell you something that's interesting. The home videos show that Kylie and the ex-boyfriend are flat out lying about the whole entire 100%. Thing. There's Google Nest videos inside the apartment. Now, forget the Google Nest videos. When you watch the full interview, the full body cam for Kylie, all the body cams, you find out that each one of those people are saying, we were not there. We didn't see what we're telling you.
We've never met Mustafa. Mustafa's never met us. We don't know each other. We've never made contact. But this is what we think is happening.
Do me a favor. Go over exhibit. I want to show you a portion of the Google Nest videos that gives you insight into the kind of relationship Mustafa has with his family. And this is why the prosecutor is so terrified.
But by the way, the police already have all those videos. And they're, I'm going to say it's coming. It's coming. We're going to sit down one of these days soon. We're going to sit down and we're going to watch these videos minute by minute. Okay. And they're going to be broadcasted live so that people can see what a big fat liar Sarah Sammy is, what a big fat liar Robert Drumm, Rob Davis, Rob Sermon, Rob, who the fuck ever, okay? All these Robs, all these Casey Fines, Chad Mason. You're going to see what kind of liars you're paying with your tax dollars. You're going to see what kind of liars are living in your community wearing that badge and that blue uniform. Okay, you're going to see. And they're going to be held accountable. I'm telling you right now, when the dust settles, and Mustafa's adjudicated, okay, and he gets justice, these people, you're going to see them. The first thing they're going to do is resign. But they think resignation is going to help them. When you break the law on a federal level, resigning does not help you.
By the way, it's already happening.
I'll just say this.
By the way, it's already
resigning
happening.
does not help you.
Let me
there's
tell
a
you.
record. There's a record for everything.
Let me tell you.
Everything is on the record.
This is a sealed case.
It was a sealed case.
It was a sealed case.
Not any longer.
Not anymore. We have the body cams. We have the discovery. Now the federal government, the DOJ, is now unsealing the transcript inside the court.
They're literally undressing these officers one by one.
On a sealed case, the transcript are getting unsealed. And if you know anything about unsealed cases, that's a huge sign that the federal government is investigating.
We get
this
to
case.
see Judge Weimer's actions, how he was practicing law from behind the bench on multiple occasions. And he thought at the time, by the way, he thought his seal was impenetrable. You can't penetrate that seal. Well, look at the transcript today, okay? On that, October 31st, 2024, he literally practiced law from the bench. It's against the rules, the judicial canon rules.
Judge Weimer, the presiding judge.
You cannot practice law from the bench. And he gave Stephanie Buck the answer to the question he was asking. And lucky for us, you have the transcript.
I do. I do have the transcript.
It's not in that file. Okay, but you paid for a hard copy and they gave it to you.
That's right. At the time, I mean, I don't know.
It's
what
no
they're
longer
doing to
available,
me.
by the way.
I find it really interesting that it's not in the hard drive because it's supposed to be unsealed.
It's not in the file that they supposedly is unsealed.
Apparently, I intercepted that transcript before they figured it out.
You got the transcript before they sealed it.
Yeah.
Okay,
So-
but Carol Weimer practiced law from behind the bench. By the way, it's you're
talking about the motion to dismiss.
The judicial canon rules, like these are known rules for judges. They specifically state that if the public feels just the feeling that you're not impartial in a case, you have to recuse yourself. But Judge Weimer is so stuck up on this case. He's so stuck on this case because he's been briefed specifically on this case.
Are you telling me to put him back under the microscope?
Listen, I'm not telling you anything, but I'm just saying this judge 100% violated the rules.
Oh, absolutely.
He's gonna get his day in court.
And by the way, before we used to say what he's doing inside.
He's doing the
court,
bidding of Amy Ashworth.
And by the way, before we used to say it, and no one can verify it because it's your word.
Now you have the transcript.
Now I have the transcript.
When I say Judge Weimer practiced law from behind the bench and gave prosecutor Stephanie Buck the answer on October 31st. I have it in my notes, by the way. I specifically have it in my October 31st, 2024 notes. And I talked about it on TikTok, on YouTube. And at the time, by the way, when I got out of court, I talked about it. I made a video about it. And I was trespassed 2 weeks later. 2 weeks later, I was no longer allowed to go into the courthouse because I said, Judge Weimer, right in front of me, practice law from the bench. He's literally a prosecutor from behind the bench. And today I have the transcript that proves it. Because at the time, if you remember correctly, You're not allowed to bring your cell phone. You can't record the proceedings. They don't want anybody listening to what's going on in that courtroom. And today, November 25th, okay, on Thanksgiving Day, we're going to release Judge Weimer practicing law from the bench, giving Stephanie Buck, a prosecutor in the Mustafa Aljazairi case, giving her the answer after asking her multiple times. He asked her a specific question multiple times, and this bitch is so fucking stupid that she could not answer it. Eventually, he said, God damn, like, here's the answer. Shit. He gave her the answer. But at that moment in time, he became a prosecutor, and that courtroom had no judge. There was no judge in that courtroom. It was just three prosecutors: Stephanie Buck, Prosecutor Sammy, and Prosecutor Carol Weimer, sitting there as a judge.
No,
that's all I have to say.
No, I'll tell you, Stephanie Buck reminds me of a beaver that's been collecting wood all day. Imagine building a dam, and she's been collecting wood all day. But it's not just your average beaver. This beaver has been at work all day, so she's completely wet and sitting there, standing there, looking over this dam that she built with this dumb look on her face. I swear to God,
they can't answer the most basic questions.
And then Judge Weimer is giving her, literally giving her the answer. I'm going to show you.
They're reading from a script. The moment anything in court deviates off of what is like pre-planned, these dumb prosecutors can't answer it. They can only read.
What did Brad Haywood say about Sarah Sammy, and specifically about Stephanie Buck? All right, how about this? I'll just play a video, okay?
Okay.
Tell me if that's not an accurate representation of Stephanie Buck.
We're gonna end it with this, by the way.
All right. No, I want to end it with two videos, and we'll end it with the two videos. Let me just play this for you, okay? And I'll make it quick. The two videos, I'll just brush over them. Stephanie Buck, prosecutor. This is what she looks like in court.
You set the mood because fragrance.
That's what she wished she looks like.
You feel.
Not me. Not the commercial.
Citrus starts the.
That's what she thinks she looks like.
Sarah Sam couldn't. I mean, come on, man.
I mean, listen, for the judge to chime in and say
these prosecutors, according to Brad, are really dumb.
He says, listen, here's the answer, but thankfully I blocked the courtroom and nobody's recording this. And the transcript, non-existent. So when I give you the answer, who's going to verify? Who's going to verify that I gave you the answer? Well, you have the transcript today. We're going to go through it.
We will go through it.
Like, you know, the funny thing is, I'm invested in that transcript because I have a notebook that says October 31st, 2024, motion to dismiss. Judge Weimer practices law from the bench, violating the judicial canon rules. And I have it in my notes. And I can't believe you were able to get the transcript. Unbelievable.
We'll go over that transcript and we're going to get to the bottom. And I'm not going to say Judge Weimer is a impartial judge. I'm not going to say it.
Impartial? You want him to be impartial.
He's not impartial. I'm not going to say that. I'm going to let the community be the deciding factor. I'm going to let you read the transcript and you tell me if he's not protecting a prosecutor that's using police officer that's falsifying this case. Now, I want to go over this Google Nest video. And I want to show this community what the prosecutor and the police department has been hiding in the Mustafa Aljazairi case for 2.5 years. And now Brad Haywood has a drive that the county gave him from Mustafa's cell phone dump because it has an app that downloads the dash camera before the police department cut and muted it, the Google Nest videos, and the Alexa. And Brad Haywood hasn't gone over the drive. He's been sitting on Mustafa's case for a whole entire year. And you know, I'll tell you, in a phone call, in a recorded phone call with Brad Haywood, he's literally telling me, I'm telling him, Brad Haywood, I have the Google Nest videos. My brother, Mohammed, accessed the cloud. We got the Google Nest videos. And he's sitting there telling me, by the way, this is in an email. He's telling me, how are we going to authenticate this? How are we going to put them on the record? How are we going to do this? How can we?
They're on the hard drive from Mustafa's data dump from the cell phones.
When your own defense attorney is lying to you,
you got a problem.
you have a problem. I mean, he's literally avoiding the drive to protect the county's narrative.
You got a problem.
Let's go over what the county's been hiding for 2.5 years. This is Javen. This is Imagine. That right there is Imagine. That's Mustafa.
That's Tanisha Coleman's kid.
That's Tanisha Coleman,
the neighbor. The neighbor that said Mustafa was such a horrible monster. What date is that?
On the 3rd?
April 3rd.
April 3rd.
April 3rd.
And what are they doing? They're playing water gun. With the water gun.
I would ask Tanisha Coleman, where was your son, your 8-year-old son, on April 4th to April 5th, the day of the accident?
Why would you ask her when you have the Google Nets video that they're spending?
No, I wanted to ask her. I wanted to make a point. Where was your son on April 4th? Your 8-year-old son. Where was your 8-year-old son on April 4th to April 5th? Where did he sleep? Oh, he slept at Mustafa's apartment without your presence. So you must have felt Mustafa was a good man for you to leave your 8-year-old son. And if you're going to tell us that Mustafa is not a good man, then you are a bad mother. So you pick. You want to be a bad mother or Mustafa's a good man? Which one is it? If you knew Mustafa was such a bad man, like you told Robert Drumm, you would not have let your 8-year-old son spend the night alone in that apartment. You would not. Okay.
So she tells Robert Drumm a bunch of lies about Mustafa and then turn around on a phone call with mom, Mustafa's mother.
And tell her.
She tells Mustafa is the best thing that ever happened to the kids and Dorothy. Mustafa loved his family.
So clearly, she's not a bad mother, but she's a liar.
You have Google Nest videos that shows
she's
it's
not a
beautiful
mother,
relationship.
But she's a liar.
The day of the accident, the day before, and the day before.
She's a liar.
And the county has been sitting on it for 2.5 years.
You know,
now Brad Haywood.
I always question, like when I say she's not a bad mother, but she is a liar. And then I think, like when you have kids, you wouldn't want to lie and put someone in jail because of your lie. You have kids, you always have that, like, you have to be honest with yourself, especially when you have kids, because you mature. You think about, that could be my son, that could be my daughter in that position. I wouldn't want somebody to do that to my kids, right? And then I remember Rob Davis when he told Rob Sermon, I have an idea about this case that we should employ, but it's going to cost spending money. Did you pay Tanisha Coleman money to lie for you? That's the real question. Did you pay someone who's broke like Glenn Ford? Did you pay him money to say the things that he said so that you can manufacture enough probable cause to get a bench warrant, to get a warrant by a magistrate to put Mustafa behind bars? Did you pay these individuals? Because apparently, when you look up these individuals, by the way, they moved right away. Tanisha Coleman, moved across the street right away just to change her address. Glenn Ford moved across the street just to change his address.
He didn't just move to...
By the way...
He ran away all the way to Maryland.
By the way, they did it within the month. So did Rob Davis and the Prince William County police officers that are involved in this case, did they give money to these people to lie?
That's a good question. Especially when on body cam, they're
Tanisha
talking
Coleman,
about...
I mean, she seemed like a good person. I don't think she's a bad mother, okay? Because clearly Mustafa thought she was a good person. Okay, he trusted her with the kids. He helped her hook up her Blink camera or whatever, some furniture. I don't think she's a bad mother.
I mean, look, when you have Investigator Robert Drumm,
she lied and she got caught red-handed because your son, your 8-year-old precious son, spent the night at Mustafa's apartment. So there's no fucking way you thought he was a bad man like you told Robert Drumm. The truth will always come out. It's a concept that's known since the existence of mankind. The truth will always come out, and the truth will always set you free. So, Prince William County, Sarah Sammy, I think it's time to just lay the truth out there. Stop being so stuck up. just because you made a mistake and you got caught.
Well, the problem here with Brad Haywood.
Either way, the truth is going to get told. Either way.
Well, here's the thing. For Mustafa's defense attorney, Brad Haywood, he's choosing to protect the county by avoiding the hard drive, by not reconstructing the vehicle accident when the government has given him money and there's a judge order, when he's not extracting the dash camera by using independent expert. Forget all that. When he's not going over the hard drive. The problem for Brad Haywood is there's already too much out to the community. The sealed file that they sealed for 2.5 years is already, the body cams are already on the internet. The dash camera is on the internet. The Google Nest videos are on the internet. The discovery is on the internet. And on this platform, we have the transcript. And what we've done is somehow, some way, we managed to have transparency into the Mustafa Aljazairi case. That when you have a defense attorney that wants to come into this case and patch up this case and protect the county, what he's ultimately going to do is ruin his career in the process. There is no one that's going to want to retain Brad Haywood and find out about what he's doing in the Mustafa Aljazairi case that's going to feel comfortable with retaining Brad Haywood. And that's why Brad Haywood is upset. He's not sure about how to go about doing this. He wants to protect the county, but at the same time, he's looking at his law firm and what this means for his future law firm, his future career. He's not going to have a career. Let me continue. Let me keep playing this body cam with the Google Nest video. It's short. It's just 2 minutes. This is Mustafa, the children, Imagine, and the neighbor kids, Nisha Coleman. This is Imagine, the child that the police department told your Mustafa ran away, left your baby sister to bleed to death. We, the police, could have saved your baby sister if it wasn't for Mustafa running away. Right before they walked him into a forensic interview, Mustafa was in a coma, and the police flat out lied to children, weaponized them against Mustafa. Here we see it's a beautiful relationship, and the county buried and attempted to hide the Google Nest videos for over 2.5 years. Mustafa filling up a water gun. They're playing with the water gun. You're going to see the kids are playing with the water gun, Mustafa. And then you're going to see Dorothy, Mustafa's girlfriend, come in, and they're all playing with the water gun. And one thing that you want to watch out for and keep an eye and really look for is look at how the children are jumping at Mustafa.
Yeah, playfully
attacking Mustafa. An abused child will be terrified to do that to their abuser. Do you see what I'm talking about here?
Yeah.
If these children were abused.
If an adult beats you, if they hit you, you'd be terrified of even going close to them.
Exactly. You can see that those children are so comfortable with Mustafa.
And Lucy Guarinera couldn't see that.
Absolutely. The county brought in a psychologist where basically, the county supplemented.
Like, where are they finding? By the way, where are you finding these people?
She didn't look at the home videos.
Like, where is Amy Ashworth finding these people? Sarah Sammy, Stephanie Buck, Mallet, whoever, Drumm, Chad Mason. Like, where is your self-respect? Where is your self-integrity? Look at the Comey case. Right?
Absolutely.
Look at the Comey case.
I was so happy when I found out that they dropped the case on Comey.
I mean, look at the integrity of those prosecutors. They resigned because they knew it was the wrong thing.
They're politicizing they're making a mockery out of the justice system by going after Comey. That's what you're doing.
But what does a person that respects themselves, what do they do when they're put in that position? Are you going to take a $250,000 salary and put a whole entire life in jail because you want to lie because of a paycheck? Is a paycheck really worth your integrity, your honesty, your self-respect? I mean, the fact that Sarah Sammy can just openly walk in there and lie. Stephanie Buck walks in there and lies. And by the way, they know they're lying. I mean, I'm trying to figure out, where is Amy Ashworth finding these people with no self-respect? They have no integrity.
I think Amy Ashworth.
They have no concept of principle. Nothing. For you to walk in and just lie. I mean, you see the evidence right in front of you and you still lie. For what? You get like $250,000 a year? You think that is worth
I mean, when
your
you find out
self-respect?
that prosecutor Sarah Sammy and Stephanie Buck are DEI hire, diversity hires.
Yeah, they're
that
willing to do
tells you
anything
everything.
to keep the title, the job. Okay, lie in the Mustafa Aljazairi case, instead of assistant Commonwealth attorney, now you're senior assistant. You got a senior in front of your name. Okay, we'll add another 50 grand to your yearly salary if you just become our bitch. And that's what she says. I'm your bitch. Do it. Do whatever you want. I'll do whatever you want. I have no self-respect. I have no limits. The sky's the limit, and I'll do whatever it is you want me to do.
It's not even a
She
good.
has no principle.
It's not even a good-looking bitch. It's a hairy.
You have no principle.
She's originally Persian, so she's a hairy monster.
You would think being originally Persian would like at least give you boundaries.
Come on, man. She's by the way, she's not your average person. Did you know that I found out that she's one of those Chinese Persian? Did you know that? For the longest time, I swear to God, I thought she had Down syndrome.
What's wrong with Chinese Persians?
There's nothing wrong with Chinese
Why are
Persian.
you talking about
But for the
Chinese
longest time, I thought she has Down syndrome, and everybody's
What's
telling
wrong
me
with Down syndrome?
There's nothing wrong with Down syndrome except the prosecutor has Down syndrome. Maybe there's something wrong with her.
She's not getting it.
I mean, what did Brad Haywood say about Sarah Sammy?
Look, man.
Okay, look. Let's continue.
I don't want to mute you again. Let's
Let's go
get back to topic so you can wrap this up.
All right, sounds good. At the end of the day, I have a really good relationship with Brad Haywood. But just because I have him under a microscope doesn't mean I don't have a good relationship with him.
I was trying to say...
Does that make sense?
I was trying to say...
I'm being objective with Brad Haywood.
Look, I was trying to say, look at the Comey case.
Yeah.
And how those prosecutors said, hell fucking no, we're not doing that.
What do you mean? Well, hold on now. The prosecutor withdrew until President Trump brought in one of his prostitutes into being a prosecutor. Wasn't she one of his models?
Basically.
And
she's never prosecuted a case a day in her life.
Trump's bikini model, actually, he put her as a prosecutor, and that's who prosecuted Comey. You literally had to get a prostitute to prosecute.
But the prosecutor resigned.
But the actual prosecutor that had integrity actually resigned.
And the judge said, not happening on my watch. And he dismissed it. I mean, that's people with integrity. That's
you would think Judge
principle.
Weimer should take notes. But, forget Judge Weimer. At this point, it doesn't even matter. See, the thing is, those days where prosecutor...
Judge Weimer works for Amy Ashworth. He does her bidding.
Here's the thing. Those days are over, where prosecutor Sarah Sammy can come in, Stephanie Buck can proffer. Those days are actually over. We can actually fact check prosecutor Sarah Sammy and Stephanie Buck in real time. We can fact check the presiding judge, Judge Weimer, with videos, with body cams, with the discovery that they're lying.
I'll give the most
We can
example.
fact check and put Brad Haywood on a fucking leash when he lies inside the court. Hey, Brad, I've got a leash around your neck, brother. If you lie, I can expose you to this community and tell this community what you're doing in this case. This is not personal, but I do have a leash around you.
You're just reporting on the facts.
I'm just reporting on the leash. I'm just reporting on the leash. I'm just reporting on the facts of this case. Did you not take the money that the government gave you to hire an independent expert for Mustafa and take the money and give it to the prosecutor independent expert? Wait a minute. The prosecutor that's been lying about Mustafa's case for 2.5 years, where you argue to the judge that the prosecutor, the police department are manipulating, have a bias on these investigators that they're bringing in. What do you mean? This is your Brady motion. You're going to take the money, give it to the prosecutor. Wait a minute. He tells Mustafa, this is the best part. He tells Mustafa, now we have 2 independent experts. What do you think? The guy is in solitary confinement. He's not going to find out. You tell the family. This is the best part. You tell the family. It's Doug Lacey, the prosecutor independent expert, is no longer her independent expert. Is now my independent expert. And I literally told this independent expert that he's not going to share his finding with the prosecutor.
With him.
Wait a minute. There's literally a motion, a joint motion, where you and the prosecutor are filing together for this independent expert, her independent expert, where you're going to take the money and give it to Mustafa's money for that independent expert. You're going to give it to her independent expert. There's literally a motion where I have that you did that. But you're going to tell me and lie to me. And you want me not to talk about it? And you want me to trust you? How? What you have to worry about is if you decide to cover up for this county, you literally have your career as a lawyer in this community to worry about, because you spend a lot of money on your law firm. Anybody that retain you is going to go home and look you up in real time, going to Google you. And literally, when they type Brad Haywood, I don't have to sit here and tell you that that's going to happen. Let's do me a favor. Go over to exhibit. Let me show Brad Haywood what actually happened. If you type Brad Haywood, guess what comes up? I come up. And what I say about you comes up. Look, me, more me, more me, more me, more. I come up. That's all me. And what I'm telling the community about what you're doing in the Mustafa Aljazairi case. How does it look?
And you're only reporting the
I'm only reading on the transcript. I'm only reading the motions that you filed. I'm only reading the transcript of what you said in court. Now, you think anybody's going to go home, look you up, listen to what I have to say, and still retain you? That's your dilemma here. You can't cover up for the county unless you ruined your career. So you really have to think twice about what you're doing in the Mustafa Aljazairi case. And this podcast, by the way, it's not to attack you. It's to empower you to doing the right thing for your client. Now, what I want to do, really quick, I want to go over the home videos. We keep playing a portion of it and then stop. Okay. Let's play the whole thing.
Didn't work. Oh shit! Shit! Ow! My skin! Ow! I can't. Got my head at the top of his leg.
Are you done?
Yeah.
Oh, that's not. One more?
Yeah, one more.
Oh, he's doing the NLE chocolate. He's doing it. NBA never broke again. NBA young boy.
JB guy. Hey, look at him. He's 30.
Oh, your hand. Oh, I can break your hands. I don't want to be tough. I don't want to be strong with you, man. Hey, listen, man. We got to stop horse playing. Where they at? He eats that. He's like, give me some more when I'm thirsty.
Oh, do that shit in my mouth.
Exactly.
Let's
not stop.
Stop!
Stop before I smack you with this water.
Hey. Stop!
Are you done fucking around?
God damn it, man.
You got me wet.
Shit! Mom!
Let go of the door.
Everybody push the door open. Everybody push the door open. This is what he gets for doing what he's doing.
Bath fitter does shit.
With my mom. It's what you get for beating up my mom, muscles.
On me, put her on that. The Google Nest has been buried for 2.5 years by the police department. The day of the accident, the day before, Brad Haywood has the Google Nest on that drive. And he says he's been sitting on Mustafa's case for a whole entire year. And he said, I didn't go through that hard drive. Mustafa's dash camera, before the police department cut and muted that dash camera, is on the hard drive that the county gave him from the cell phone dump. But Brad Haywood says, I didn't go through it. You've been sitting on Mustafa's case for the whole entire year. You're not going to go through the most important piece of evidence that's going to show that the county lied for 2.5 years? We're going to continue to put Brad Haywood under the microscope, and we're going to continue to objectively report on Mustafa's defense attorney and what he's doing in the Mustafa Aljazairi case. And the community is the deciding factor. Now, one thing I'll tell you, we've been on this podcast for 2.5 years. Oh, 2.5 years. We've been on this podcast for just about 2.5 hours. And I didn't really cover everything I wanted to cover. I wanted to go over the dash camera that was edited by NBC4. I wanted to go over ABC and how it went under it's under fire for editing the January 6th speech.
They're being sued for $7 million.
They're being sued for $7 million.
And they're going to pay it.
And they're going to pay it. They edited President Trump's January 6th speech. They completely botched up the whole thing.
Ran away. He got fired.
Ran away and got fired. The same way NBC4 cut and edited Mustafa's dash camera. And she released 4 seconds, an edited version of Mustafa's dash camera. And what she avoided and cut out of Mustafa's dash camera is this. Is that Mustafa and Dorothy, they want to tell you that Mustafa is arguing inside the vehicle. But when you watch the actual dash camera, moments before the car accident, is that Mustafa and Dorothy are sharing a cigarette.
1 minute.
Literally 1 minute before the vehicle accident, Mustafa and Dorothy are sharing a cigarette. Mustafa and Dorothy has cancer. She has hemp. She's smoking hemp. Hemp doesn't have THC. Weed have THC. Hemp doesn't get you high. Dorothy smokes hemp because of her pain, because of her cancer. And on dash camera, you see Dorothy and Mustafa pass that cigarette 6 times. Now, we don't have to speculate. I have Mustafa's toxicology report.
The toxicology of both Dorothy and
Mustafa.
Show this is no alcohol, no drugs.
This is the toxicology report.
THC, 0.
Gonna zoom in.
Yeah, Robert Drumm went and got warrants based on DUI.
They charged Mustafa with the DUI manslaughter for 7 months. And they held him on a DUI manslaughter, even though his blood alcohol showed no alcohol, no drugs. And the minute we went to Internal Affairs and told them, we have evidence that the investigator falsified.
They called Amy Ashworth.
Within 5 days.
By the way, we have the recordings.
Within 5 days, she drops the DUI manslaughter and she upgrades it to murder to retaliate and protect her police officer. This is Mustafa's toxicology report. Blood alcohol, non-detected. No alcohol in his system. THC, 0.0003. What they're smoking inside the vehicle is hemp. And this is the foundation of the case. And this is what they've been hiding from this community for over 2.5 years.
They held them for 6 months.
They said you're arguing inside the vehicle. They cut the audio. They falsified Mustafa's statement. They said, you, Mustafa, told me that you were arguing inside the vehicle. There's a recording that Mustafa never said that. And the dash camera show there is no argument inside the vehicle, that they're literally sharing a cigarette. And the way Dorothy grabs that cigarette, she feels Mustafa's
digital
fingers.
forensics confirms there is audio that Chad Mason cut from that footage. It's confirmed.
Julie Carey releases an edited version of the dash camera. On the next podcast, we're going to go into details into what Julie Carey aired out on NBC4. And we're going to go through the actual dash camera. And I'll show you a segment where Julie Carey edited this portion out of the dash camera and took it out of context. What Julie Carey cut out of the dash camera is that Mustafa and Dorothy were sharing a cigarette. There we go.
This is crazy.
Did you see? Look how Dorothy feels Mustafa's fingers as she grabs a cigarette. Where's the fucking argument? Look how she grabs Mustafa's fingers.
Unfucking believable.
This is
unbelievable.
We're going to watch this one more time. Look how she grabs Mustafa's,
And
feels
they've had
Mustafa's.
this man behind bars for 2.5 years.
Why do you think this dash camera is sealed from the community? This dash camera is sealed from the community because Commonwealth Amy Ashworth can't bullshit this community and tell them that there's an argument inside the vehicle when they're passing back and forth a cigarette. When Dorothy literally feels Mustafa's finger as she grabs the cigarette from Mustafa. I mean, this, by the way, this is 6:32 and 51 seconds. So, how long before the accident?
What is it? What time was it?
6:32 and 43 seconds. 44, 45, 46,
So
47.
2 minutes prior to the accident.
2 minute prior.
2 whole minutes prior
Okay.
to the accident.
And Dorothy is seen when she takes a cigarette from Mustafa, feels his fingers. And I mean, it shows that how much they love each other.
I mean, you look
What
at
argument?
you look at
Do me a favor, go back into Julie Carey cut and edited the dash camera, cut the portion where it shows that Mustafa and Dorothy are sharing a cigarette. And the question here is, how objective is our media outlet? I mean, if you're taking things out of context, you're not just not objective, you're flat out lying about the case. What Julie Carey with NBC4 is doing is she's covering up for the police department. The police department lie, and they tell this community that Mustafa is arguing with his girlfriend inside the vehicle. And then Julie comes to the rescue by editing the dash camera inside the vehicle. On the next podcast, what we're going to do, we're going to go into detail into what Julie Carey aired out on NBC4, and we're going to put side by side the actual dash camera and show what Julie Carey cut out of this dash camera.
how she took the videos out of context.
I mean, she took absolutely
different times from the interior and exterior camera to make it look like it was the same time, but they're really different times.
She would rewind, fast forward, go back, rewind. I mean, you're taken out of context. The Mustafa Aljazairi case, we're going to continue to put Brad Haywood under the microscope, and we're going to ask the question, is the defense attorney paid and bought for by the county, or is he threatened, flat out threatened? Anyway, whether bought, purchased, threatened, we have a media outlet that's objectively reporting on the Mustafa Aljazairi case. We have the body cams, we have the discovery, we have the transcript inside the court. We're going to continue to report on the Mustafa Aljazairi case, and what we're finding here is the Mustafa Aljazairi case is completely falsified. Mustafa lost his family in a vehicle accident. Mustafa did everything he can to avoid a vehicle accident. His foot is on the brake the whole entire time. The police department literally find brake failure in his vehicle. The vehicle would not stop even though Mustafa's foot was on the brake the whole entire time. And they covered it up. Mustafa's steering angle is counterclockwise away from the vehicles. They've been telling us Mustafa drove into oncoming traffic. The steering angle is counterclockwise. The police department cut and muted Mustafa's dash camera. The police department crushed and staged Mustafa's vehicle. The police department falsified the warrant. The police department weaponized a 9, a 10, a 14, a 16 against Mustafa before walking them into a forensic interview. The police department buried and hid the Google Nets videos that show it's a beautiful relationship. And we have a defense attorney that's attempting to cover this up for the police department. You don't have to take my word for it. We have the file, and we're going to continue to put Brad Haywood, Mustafa's defense attorney, under the microscope. And hopefully, we can empower him to doing the right thing. It's literally, Brad Haywood has like a devil and an angel on his shoulder. I'm the angel, standing on one shoulder, and the county is the devil.
Oh, I thought you said Muhammad's the devil.
And you want to switch them around? Okay. I mean, I like this metaphor. You know, I'm just literally standing on Brad's shoulder with a leash, and I'm trying to pull him in one direction. I'm like, Brad, do the right thing. Do the right thing.
It's okay. I'll take the role.
You're not supposed to park there.
I'll take the role.
What role do you want?
The devil.
On that note, I want to thank everybody for being here. I want to thank Muhammad for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you. Why'd you sound Chinese just now? You know, we're throwing a lot of Chinese terms. You like that one with the prosecutor? They tell me she's Persian. Chinese Persians. I swear to God, for the longest time, I didn't know she was a Chinese Persian. I thought she has Down syndrome. But another conversation for another podcast. I want to thank everybody for being here. This is not another boring podcast. Don't forget to share and like the podcast. Take the podcast link and share it to your Facebook.
Send it to Sarah Sammy.
Send it to, I mean, why would you send it to Sarah Sammy when she's literally watching the podcast? Investigator Drumm.
She has a whole file.
By the way, she has a whole, apparently prosecutor Sarah Sammy, she has a whole entire file on me. I walk into.
This is like that.
And I see,
hey Arnold. She's got a shrine of you at the prosecutor's office.
You open and then she has a whole shrine. I want to thank everybody for being here. This is not another boring podcast. Brad Haywood, you are under my microscope.
If any of that is posted anywhere on the internet, we're going to have problems. Whatever copies have been made of that, those need to be destroyed.
Okay.
Okay? If they get disclosed, that is going to put me in a situation where I will have to withdraw from the case.
Okay.
If you disclose that information in any way, all of it needs to be destroyed now. But if you disclose it in any way, it's going to put me in a position where I will have to withdraw from the case. If you all choose to go on the internet and try to publicize this stuff, that's going to create real problems.
Okay.
You can't do it, is what I'm telling you. You cannot do it. I will have to move to withdraw from the case.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
All right.
So make sure everybody's aware of that. Okay. If any of that is posted anywhere on the internet, we're going to have problems. Whatever copies have been made of that, those need to be destroyed.
Okay.
Okay? If they get disclosed, that is going to put me in a situation where I will have to withdraw from the case.
Okay.
All right.